Hey, drinking buddies. Before we get into it this week, just a word from our sponsors. This week's episode is brought to you by Ghost Tequila, 80 proof, 100% agave, Blanco tequila with a ghost pepper kick. You can make amazing spicy margaritas, Bloody Marias, or just do it as shots. Ghost Tequila is available at www.ghosttequila.com and a handful of states, including California. Pick it up. You will not be disappointed. As always, we're brought to you by Laughable. Laughable is the #1 iOS comedy, not even just comedy, #1 podcast app. Not only can you subscribe to your favorite shows, you can subscribe to your favorite artists. You like a comedian? You can search them. You can see every appearance they've ever made. It's the best app. It's how I listen to podcasts. This week, we're drinking with Richard Alexander Pomes. He is one of the co-creators of Ghost Tequila. He used to be the #1 brand ambassador for Fireball Whiskey. The man has been around liquor for a very long time, and he had a super interesting career path to how he got from New Orleans to where he is today. This was an awesome episode. We did some drinking. We nerded out. Enjoy, guys. We're going. What's going on, Richard? Thank you for
Hey, how are you? Is that it? Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
All right, cool. Sweet. You're not going to play a theme song on your piano or something like that?
My grand piano sitting in the living room.
Right. I see it right now. That's totally there for everybody listening at home. It's definitely a thing.
I live in a palatial Hollywood apartment and with my grand piano. And
You're Liberace, basically, more or less. With less naked men hanging out, right?
Slightly less. I mean, we'll see how you end up by the end of the show.
Give me a couple more drinks.
Cheers to that.
Drinks.
Everyone.
Cheers.
We're drinking Ghost Tequila right now, yeah?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
we are drinking Ghost Tequila.
Salud.
Once again, the return of the spicy margaritas.
Hey, how's it going? Yep. Well, so we kind of, we skipped an intro. Do you explain who I am before this in an intro? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I'm very confused. I don't know who I am. I just wanted to make sure,
We got you.
I think we know who you are.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm basically cracked out on coffee after sitting in the car for 3 hours. So then I'm going to start drinking. So this is going to get ugly real fast, guys.
Beautiful. That's what we hope for.
Good. All right.
We hope for that kind of madness.
Good.
So what's been going on? You were just at TwitchCon?
I was at TwitchCon this past weekend.
Jelly, because I really wanted to go to that.
I know, right?
I mean,
Well,
it's not like E3, obviously.
No.
We're just talking about this. How it's
right.
like, it's a little different because, like for those that are more into like, the pop culture of games and stuff like that, E3 is the kind of place you want to go for something like that. Whereas TwitchCon is, and I've never been, so maybe you can kind of shed some light on it. It's kind of more about, the platform and more techie stuff, right?
Yeah,
Would
exactly.
You say?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big old video game nerd. Have been since I was a kid.
Hell yeah,
and
same
so console gaming's my thing all the way. I'm a big Xbox One player right now.
Yeah, Xbox.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, suck it, PlayStation gamers.
I have both, so
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
every time people try to make me choose, I'm like, I swing both ways. There's no choosing for me. Like,
Typical. #typical.
But I have like all my old systems, anyways. I have like my NES, my SNES, my I have a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have Xbox 360,
Yeah.
Xbox One, PlayStation 1 through 4. I have my Sega Dreamcast still.
Nice.
My N64, GameCube, Wii. I'm trying to think. I still have my Atari somewhere at my grandma's house, but all my other old systems are at my house.
Damn,
so.
girl. You're not old enough to have Atari or even know
That's
what
the
that
first
is.
system I ever played on was an Atari.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
I have all my stuff in my mom's attic somewhere. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere in boxes.
I gave my Dreamcast to a friend when I moved to LA. I kind of regret doing that.
Yeah, I still have mine because most of my games. Because remember the Dreamcast, you could like bootleg games.
Yeah.
Just like burn it onto a CD and then just play it.
And it was one of the first consoles that could connect to the internet. So it had all kinds of like backdoor ways you could break in to download games and pirate games and things like that. Yeah. Short-lived console, but oh man, it had some really good games on it.
Yeah, it did.
X-Men Marvel versus Capcom 2 was the best on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I never played that on the Dreamcast. I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on my
Probably PlayStation.
PlayStation 2 or 3. 2.
Yeah, it wasn't as good on the other consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I downloaded it for Xbox 360 and
The Xbox controller's not great for fighting games.
No. I've been playing a lot of Injustice 2 lately.
Oh yeah,
And
Injustice 2 is great.
this is going to start a flame war. I'm sure of it. But I'll take the Mortal Kombat engine over the Street Fighter or Capcom engine.
Oh, have you ever
any
played
day.
Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that was because they did a bunch of Mortal Kombat games, then they did Mortal Kombat versus DC, and then they started doing Injustice. So I'm assuming that mashup kind of gave them the idea to do just an all DC fighting game. But man, that game is so weird. And like you could only perform fatalities on the Mortal Kombat characters or the villains from DC. You couldn't perform fatalities on like Batman and Superman.
Wait a minute.
Remember
Are you talking about Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, say that one more time. You said that
The fighting game.
Yeah, no, I played it, but you're
Okay.
saying that you can't do fatality. Oh my god, that makes sense.
You
now.
can't. So the
Because I was playing it the other day, not the other day, like a couple weeks ago. I was playing it with my roommate because he had never played it before.
Yeah.
And
Matt's so bored he's leaving.
what?
Matt is so bored he's leaving this conversation. Sorry, continue.
And there was like I can't remember what characters we were playing as, but for some weird reason, whenever we would get to the point where we're like, oh, do a fatality, you know what I mean? And then we would go into the cheat code into the menu to see
Right.
like what to push, and then it wouldn't show it, and I'm like, how come it's not showing it? But now that you're saying this, I'm like, that probably makes sense now.
I mean, how could you rip Superman's head off?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. But I read an interview at some point, because I'm that nerd who reads, backstory about how video games are made, that they said that DC would not allow the heroes to die. You could perform fatalities, I'm pretty sure, obviously on the Mortal Kombat characters and on the DC villains, but not the heroes could not perform fatalities, and you could not perform fatalities on them because they wanted to maintain the purity of, something like that.
Interesting.
But they all
Yeah.
effectively have fatalities in Injustice.
Yeah, but nobody dies. You're talking like there's the super moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
in Mortal Kombat, it's all about the gore, I feel like. You know,
Right.
Mortal Kombat versus, like, other fighting games like Street Fighter and stuff like that, like, they don't have stuff like that in Street
Right.
Fighter. Mortal Kombat's all about the gory, like, they have videos on YouTube of, like, hours long of just the fatalities.
Right.
I may have watched that the other day.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times.
We, like, spent 45 minutes watching. I'm like, oh, my God, there's still another hour of this shit. What are we doing with our lives
Yeah.
right now? But it's true.
Good times.
Because that's what it's all about. It's about, like, oh, you just ripped his head off and then...
And shit down his neck or
shit
something
down
like
his
that.
neck
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, like something awful. It's that's exactly.
Speaking of old school, like, violent video games, did any of you guys play Time Killers back in the day in the arcade?
Is that the one where you stepped on the pedal and you'd pop up or down? No.
It was a fighting game where,
I was thinking of Time Splitters, but
Oh,
it's not a
yes.
fighting game though.
where
I
you
know
could
what you're
just
talking about.
decapitate people, like, mid-match.
Yeah, you had like each character had like a medieval weapon.
Yeah, or one guy had a chainsaw.
Okay, right. And there, instead of waiting to the end to do a fatality, you just hit a certain button combination and you would just murder them like in the beginning of the match.
Right.
if
You
did
could
it
also
right.
chop off limbs, and if you press the limb button once they were chopped off, you would just spray blood at your opponent.
It's like a Bushido blade.
Oh,
We're
I
going-
miss
we're
Bushido
going-
blade.
We're going deep now.
I miss.
People are just turning off the podcast at this point. They're like, these fucking nerds.
You'd be surprised.
They're like,
All right, good.
Yeah.
What the fuck? We were here for sex stories, and now they're talking about killing each other on PlayStation.
I get, I get more aroused by killing people in video games than I do,
Dude, we used to do
Sex
best,
stories.
best out of 3 on Bushido Blade all the time. Just fucking me and my buddies back in high school, just hours of that. Especially after you crippled your opponent, and then for some reason you charge the cripple and you just pop, kill you
The
dead.
matches went so fast. Some matches would be like 3 seconds long.
Yeah, just roll up, hit you in the head. I was a big broadsword player, so it's just like
Yeah.
pop.
Like Cloud from Final Fantasy. Just
Yep.
swinging that whole thing around.
Did you ever play
Bringer
Bushido
style.
Blade? Mm-mm. Oh. That was a fighting game. The second one I never played.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But the beautiful part about Bushido Blade was it was supposed to be a realistic fighter. So if you hit someone in the leg, they got crippled and could only hobble at you.
Oh wow.
Or if you hit them in the arm,
So
their
it's like realistic. It's not like, oh, I'm still standing here after you
Right.
like stabbed me in the eye.
Yeah, no
You know
no
what I
hit
mean?
points. No life bar. You
Yeah.
hit someone in their arm would stop working. You hit them in the head, they just fall over dead.
It sounds in theory like the most boring video game ever because it's basically just real life. But
Well, like the Arkham game. I remember when the first Arkham video game came out.
Yeah.
Batman.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to make it realistic with the way his his suit would start to weather, and then his facial hair would start to
Yeah.
grow out. I think that was the one more specifically Arkham City. I think when
Yeah.
he's like trapped at Arkham or whatever, and he has nowhere to go. He can't even get to the Batcave or whatever. And then like you could see the how, like, as the hours, the time passes, his costume just starts to get fucked up.
It's very Die Hard, right? By the end, he's just like broken and bloody. And
yeah, exactly.
Most video games, like it's like the end of a cartoon where the next week the character's back to normal. But Arkham was just like, no, he just keeps getting hurt and bloodied and bruised.
It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Very Die Hard.
That needs to be a common theme in more video games.
What's that?
Just
the guy just
the
getting
weathering,
the realism, the realism of like in RPGs or something.
By the end, they're just crawling on the ground like Bushido Blade. Just can't stand up.
Can't stand up, throwing sand in people's eyes. Oh yeah, that was another dirty move you could do in Bushido Blade. You can throw sand in people's eyes.
That's pretty dirty. Holy crap, this drink is spicy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Whew.
And you guys have you've had this before. You had a show where you drank it.
Actually, a show that we did where we drank Ghost Tequila, we killed an entire bottle. That was probably our most drunk fucking episode.
Definitely, because we moved on to bottle 2 of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. Before I think that was before we had even met in person. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to this episode because we met through Bobby.
Wait, you guys had never met before?
Not in person, no.
The first time we met was that night that we went out, right?
Yeah.
That was the first time you met?
Yep.
OMG. I did not know.
That was the night we saw Mr. Belding.
I thought that you guys like went far back or some shit. Like you guys do each other.
No, we just bonded well.
How funny.
We met on Tinder.
Wow.
It's like he's holding 2 bottles of tequila, swipe right.
Or a Bumble BFF.
Right. No, we have a mutual friend, Bobby, right?
Yeah. Robert Dean for the folks at home.
Okay.
Okay. You guys know each other from Chicago?
We do indeed.
Okay, cool. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to ask you. Oh, I have to text some. I met 2 people this past weekend in San Diego who you know, and it's a girl with a normal name and a guy with a weird name, and they said...
Lucy and Brian Street Team?
Yes, Street Team, yes.
My homie.
They said, make sure when you see Matt to tell him we said hi, and then I walked away and completely forgot this dude's weird name, Street Team. Okay, cool.
That is Brian Street Team. Perfect. He will be on the show at some point as soon as we get him pinned down again.
Mm-hmm. I ran into him at a Day of the Dead festival where we were passing out tequila, basically.
Awesome. How do you know that? Did he just like...
I have no idea.
Well,
I don't know.
He does listen to the show.
He must listen to the show.
That's what it was. He saw Ghost Tequila and said, "Oh, I listened to a podcast or something like that." And
no, he definitely listens to the show.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Because we've been on a few podcasts, but he was like, "Oh, I listened to this podcast," and I immediately thought, I assumed it was this one. So
yeah, porn performer. Yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's hence the fake last name.
Ah, okay. I get it.
Street Team.
That's how you can identify us. Is none of us have real last names.
Yeah. All right. I guess I need a fake last name.
I only go by my last name these days.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And people don't really call me anything but mine either. Shit.
On here, everybody knows me as Annie, but everywhere else, I've dropped the Annie, and I only go by Cruz.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But people call me that anyways, regardless. Like
sure.
In daily life, they're like, yo, Cruz, what? What do you want?
It's just easier.
Yeah. Well, it's also very bro-y, too, because I'm like a bro, so.
Yeah. I am not a porn performer, and I have 2 first names, and people kind of go back and forth. So I'm Richard. That's my real first name, but my middle name is Alexander, and my family and close friends from New Orleans, where I'm from, call me Alex. So it's very confusing when I'm with people from both groups, and somebody says Alex, and then somebody says Richard. People get very, very confused.
Oh, man.
But
yeah, my cousin is like that. She has 2 first names.
Yeah. It can get confusing, but if a random person comes down the street and they say Richard or Alex, I immediately know whether or not I should act professional or it's somebody from childhood.
Right.
So
what you're saying is we should start calling you Alex because we don't want you acting professional.
No, I guess you're right, huh? Yeah. So either way, whatever you pick. Which version of me do you want to see tonight?
We'll let the Ghost Tequila pick.
It'll sort itself out, right?
Exactly.
Uh-huh. The more you drink, it'll come out.
Alex comes out.
For sure.
Yeah.
What kind of shit did Alex get into in New Orleans?
Ooh.
Nolans.
We had, so this past time I was in New Orleans, it was Ghost's 1-year anniversary party of launching in New Orleans. Not the beginning of the company, but just launching in New Orleans. Because we launched in Boston first and then New Orleans. 2 of my business partners are from Boston. I'm from New Orleans. So kind of did those right after each other. So we had kind of this crazy party at one of our favorite bars in New Orleans. And then, split out from there, went to the French Quarter, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any gory details for the fans at home?
Gory? Oh. Oh, yes.
Oh, you put it that way.
Someone was mauled by a tiger. It was a scary night.
Was it the mascot for the university?
Oh, LSU. Yeah. Actually, that tiger died recently.
Wait a minute. So someone did get mauled by a tiger. I was like, wait a minute. Are we joking here?
No.
I'm like missing
no one
something?
actually got mauled by a tiger, but LSU in Baton Rouge, they actually have a real tiger as a mascot, in a cage. And I think it was euthanized recently because it had a lot of health problems. Aww. But it's also a tiger they keep in a cage by itself near a college. So no shit, it had health problems. You know?
Why? So it was just confined to a fucking school just because it was their mascot. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, they apparently they did their due diligence and got the permits and the laws and blah blah blah. And
wait a minute, there's laws in Louisiana?
A few. Yeah, a few.
Wow.
In certain parts. Some parts of Louisiana you can't buy alcohol on Sunday.
And you said this LSU?
LSU, yeah.
This is Louisiana State University?
Yeah, it's in Baton
Tigers.
Rouge, which is about an hour or so outside of New Orleans. It's kind of a separate world, you know. And, Baton Rouge is very conservative compared to New Orleans.
One of the colleges that I went to did not have a cool mascot at all.
What was it?
Penguins.
Who are the Penguins?
Dominican University, a Catholic school in Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah, Catholic University, and we were the DU Penguins, and I was like, okay, we're
DU
fucking penguins
in Northern California.
You'd think that if we were like in Alaska or something,
sure.
like somewhere cold,
sure.
like yeah, we're the Penguins, but okay.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, New Orleans used to have a hockey team about 20 years ago, so that's fucked up.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it was called the Brass. The games were actually fun, but it just didn't last because nobody cares about sports in New Orleans except football. That's the only one.
Right.
People
really
support, in the deep South. So.
Damn, I love New Orleans. I was just there last year. Yeah.
No way. For what?
Yeah. Dancing. I was out there dancing, and it was my best friend's birthday, so it was kind of like a double celebration because we were dancing together out there.
Does your friend live in New Orleans?
No.
Okay.
No. She was scheduled to dance out there, and then our agent, because we have the same agent, booked me for it when he found out that I was coming because there was a whole convention, I guess, that was going on.
Where did you dance?
And all over. There was 3 different, because there was a dance convention going on, so we did 3 different clubs, but all in the oh my god.
In the French Quarter?
No, not the French Quarter.
Marigny Bywater.
Oh my god. Why can't
Frenchman Street.
Oh god.
Central Business District.
No, Bourbon Street.
Oh, okay. That's the French Quarter.
The French Quarter, yeah.
Cool. That's where all the clubs are.
Yeah. So that's where we ended up dancing. But it was like a celebration for her birthday as well. So it was a lot of fun. We got we partied.
I bet you
to
did.
To say the least, we partied.
I bet you did.
Yeah. But
in New Orleans?
Time.
Never.
Yeah, it was
never.
It was a good time. I love it there. I love it.
New Orleans doesn't know how to party. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right? I would love to live in New Orleans, but I realized that I would be like 500 pounds.
Sure.
I'd just eat fucking, Creole and Cajun food all the time.
All that comfort food, man.
Oh, yeah?
And then I'd just be drunk and sweaty and fat. And
yeah, that's basically what happens when you live there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good look for me.
It's so weird being from there and hearing people's perception, who are not from there, of New Orleans, because you grow up there and I had no idea that the rest of the world was not like New Orleans. I grew up there thinking, everybody, gets drunk at noon, and you can walk outside with drinks wherever you want. There's no last call, and everybody has Mardi Gras. And once I started traveling, once I was a little bit older, it was like, oh, there's no place like this anywhere else, which is weird, and it's strange. The culture that you're raised in New Orleans, it's one very much of like, not that you can drink when you're super young, but it's kind of like not that big a deal. People are like, yeah, whatever, you're 17 or 18, here, have a drink. And you end up respecting alcohol younger than you would. Like in New Orleans, people drink, but it seems like people from New Orleans can hold their alcohol really well. And then you go down Bourbon Street and you get all these tourists and they're falling down drunk.
Yeah.
And so it's weird. It's almost like this culture of, hey, we were raised on this. We're not going to eat all the food and drink all the alcohol, that kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. I lived in Vegas for a number of years. The amount of times I actually stepped foot on the Strip, maybe a handful of times.
Right.
It's how it is.
Yeah, it's like living in New York and going to Times Square. You're like, fuck no, I'm not going to Times Square. I live in New York.
Yeah.
Why would I go to Times Square? And the tourists are all walking around Times Square looking up, and that's how New Orleanians feel about Bourbon Street. It's like, no, I'm a local.
That's how I feel
Why
about
would I go to
living in
Bourbon
Hollywood.
Street?
I live right in the middle of tourist city.
Yeah.
That's why I like being this far east.
But my neighborhood,
Yeah.
even though I live like right in the middle of Hollywood, I live like 2 blocks away from like the chaos. But it's like you walk 2 blocks away into my neighborhood and it's quiet. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
That's nice.
it's nice though. It's nice, yeah. I'm not complaining, but when I do walk, because I walk to work, because I work in the middle of Hollywood. So every time I walk to work during the day, I'm always like, oh God, there's all these fucking tourists everywhere. And like, just today when I was walking to work, I see all these families and stuff. And all I kept thinking was, they're definitely not from here. Because nobody would take their family to the middle of Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard and shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's go hang out in Hollywood.
I don't understand why people come here as tourists. This is a crap tourist town. It really
It is.
is.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
What are you going to see? Stars on the sidewalk?
Well, that's
you fucking
exactly,
do.
and that's exactly what boggles my mind when I do see these tourists. Oh, let's stop and take a picture, and look, it's Michael Jackson's fucking star, and then I'm like tripping on people. I'm like, what the fuck? I literally have to walk because it's amazing to me because I go to the office like almost every day, and it never changes. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. There's always a hustle going on in the middle of Hollywood. To the point where I have to push through people just to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
I walk like it's Black Friday. I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. Move. I'm trying to get to over here, and then I actually had a tourist ask me once, like, do you know where all the celebrities hang out? I'm like, are you seriously asking me this right now? Like, but it's Hollywood. I'm like, where are you from? Arkansas. I'm like, okay, that's great. I have to go to work now. I'm leaving, like, it's just, it's crazy to me. Like, that how everybody is so enthralled with like, oh my God, it's the famous Chinese theater. I was just at Disney World. Have you ever been to Disney World?
Which Disney World in
Disney
Florida?
World, the one in Florida.
Yeah. So yes, I have. Funny story. Continue.
Okay, you can share that in a second.
Yeah.
So I was just there, and I've been there, a few times already.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just there like 3 weeks ago. I
Yeah.
want to say 2-3 weeks ago, and we went to Hollywood Studios out there, and it's just hilarious to me because they have like this mini version of the Chinese theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're walking, and I'm seeing all these people going crazy that I'm like, and I mean, my buddy, we're like, I bet you some of these people have never even been to Hollywood for real.
Definitely.
And they're going nuts over this replica. And I remember someone that worked there, like, made some kind of comment, and I was like, dude, I live right next to that. Like, the real one in LA. Like, this, it's hilarious to me, like, how... just how everybody's just so...
Yeah. I mean, but keep in mind, for people who aren't from here, like, okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, for me, I've been to LA a bunch of times, and I still kind of get a little excited. Like, I've been to LA, a dozen times maybe, but I've only lived in California for the last couple months.
that's right. I think I remember you
Yeah.
mentioning that before. Yeah.
But for me, like, I only just went and did the walk up to the planetarium, only like on my last trip. So for me, I was always really excited about that.
Yeah.
And then you do it once, and you're like, okay, cool. I walked up an incline, saw the planetarium, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
But for me, not being from here, I was always kind of like, I understand why people get excited about coming to LA.
Yeah, sure.
But you're right. I mean, sometimes it's like it's overkill, right?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
that way about the French Quarter. Everybody's like, let's go get drunk in the French Quarter. I'm like, why? You can get drunk anywhere. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
I would rather go Snakes and Jakes.
Dude, I cannot believe you know that place. That's
I've been there
awesome.
multiple times.
Snake and Jake's Christmas Club Lounge.
Yeah.
That is probably like top 3 favorite bars in New Orleans.
I love that spot.
Oh my God, that spot is, I hear keys clacking. Are you looking up that bar? So,
what is the bar called?
Snake and Jake's Christmas Club Lounge. If you weren't, that's cool. I just thought it was funny that you started typing.
No, I was, but then I was looking at the at the same time.
No, so this is the rumor I've heard. Maybe it says this somewhere online, but so this is for Annie and everyone listening. There's this bar in New Orleans that's in the middle of a residential area surrounded by houses.
I'm looking
It's
at a
not
picture of it, too.
Okay, cool. With the wreath on the front?
Yeah.
So this is a bar that's not in a commercial area. Somehow it kind of slipped under the radar for commercial zoning in a sleepy residential neighborhood. It is a tool shed. When I say it is small, it is literally like somebody's tool shed with no windows. The only window is this little window that's blacked out on the front door, and it is pitch black inside.
Yep.
It's pitch black inside, and there's a cat that lives inside the bar.
There's a
And-
picture of the cat on the website.
Yes. And this place can fit, maybe like 30 people comfortably. And the standing rule that I heard about years ago, and I've only seen it happen once, was if you go into the bar naked, you drink for free all night.
Oh, dude, why haven't I?
So
not
New
been
Orleans
here?
trip?
But
I would totally walk in there naked and be like, I get to drink for you for the rest of the evening. Do I have to stay naked for the rest of the evening?
you know what? I don't know. We should. I'll go ask next time I'm there. But it's
No, let's find out the hard way.
let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
It's such
I'll
a
bring my Batman robe, so I can just slip that back on.
perfect. It's such a dark bar because the only lighting inside is a string of red Christmas lights. So it's like pitch black. So even if you are naked, it's really not that big a deal, I guess.
I mean, I don't really have a big deal with being naked, but
And you'd only be naked for like a bunch of locals and bartenders because that's who hangs out there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well,
Yeah.
it's one of those places that now, because it's infamous, has started to get more tourists going out of the way to get there. It's like any cool place, right? People start to seek it out.
Well,
So.
fuck, I'm sad I called it out on air then.
I know. We should
I
not
was
be
like,
talking.
great, everybody that's going to listen to this podcast is going to be like, I have to go check out this place now.
Somebody who works at Snake and Jake's is going to like call me and be like, "Why the fuck did you tell everybody about Snake and Jake's?"
I actually found out about it from Robert.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's not from New Orleans, but he's also a guy that is filled with New Orleans knowledge.
Well, he was there for what, 6-7 years?
Something like that, yeah. And I mean that as a compliment because a lot of people who live there don't know all the ins and outs. So yeah, he's great. I like him. Shout out to what do you call him? Robert, huh?
Robert Dean, his professional name.
He's doing well. He's a very successful writer these days. He got
is
pieces in I think in Vice and
He's getting articles everywhere. He just did another one for Farce the Music.
yeah.
He's doing my bio for my IMDb. Thanks, Robert.
Whoa, nice. How much you paying him for that?
I'm not. Tit for tat on,
Oh, speaking of, he was talking to me recently about writing an article about how he took his family to Disney World, which reminds me that you brought up Disney World.
Yeah.
And you asked me if I'd ever been
Oh,
there.
yeah. And you said you had a funny story.
So you asked if I had been in Disney World.
Yeah.
I used to work for Disney World. I used to work for Disney. So I'm in the liquor business now, right?
Right.
Before, like when I was much younger, I went to school for theater. So
okay.
I actually went to school for musical theater. I went to Performing Arts High School.
wow. Okay.
I know this is like super left field, random, but I did some TV and some commercials and little bullshit in New Orleans when I grew up. A lot of musical theater. So didn't really know what I wanted to do for a long time in my 20s. Katrina hit New Orleans when I was 20. And I basically lost everything. I mean, I had like 6 feet of water in my apartment.
Man.
So I was like, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I had a couple friends who were working in the college internship at Disney at the time. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Disney. So what's cool is that if you have any kind of acting experience, Disney kind of fast tracks you into roles. Mm-hmm. Otherwise they'll kind of train you a little bit. But but if you have acting experience, they're like, yeah, come on in, let's do this. So I started. I don't know at what point when I give away the magic that Disney will try to sue somebody, but the code word we used was I was friends. I'm using air quotes. I was friends with someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was friends with Pluto and Tigger, and it's all done by height range, so characters in that range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to ruin the magic. So if there's any children listening, fucking stop listening.
Yeah, right. Turn this shit off, find your parents, and then make them a cocktail.
Ooh, I like that. Children indentured servants.
Oh, yeah. No, it's 100%. Like, if I ever happen to knock somebody up, I need wood now. If I ever happen to knock somebody up, the minute that kid can walk, that kid's going to learn how to make cocktails. I mean, I'll have to buy pints first. I couldn't imagine, a kid pouring a full fifth, but...
Right. It's a lot of hand-eye coordination, right?
Yeah, well, it's just a little heavy for a little guy.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So pints should be manageable. Mm-hmm. Maybe start them off with airplane models.
Have them build a ship in a bottle. Yeah, so I mean, like, I've got some weird stories about Disney.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Some of them appropriate for this, some of them not. I remember, Disney has, like, behind the parks, they have, like, the backstage areas.
Yeah.
And it's like, you hang out back there. People are taking smoke breaks. People are hanging out and just talking, shooting shit, that kind of stuff. And there was, this sounds so stupid to say. Fuck it. There was an Alice and a, like, I don't know, like a Cinderella or something like that. Mm-hmm. and they were just talking about like sex they had the weekend before, and like Alice is smoking a cigarette, and it's like childhood dreams ruined because I'm watching these two Disney princesses.
Maybe your childhood.
Yeah.
My childhood.
Touche.
Fuck yeah.
Touche. Yeah, so I'm watching these two princesses just like, say things that princesses shouldn't say. And it was hilarious to me. It was like, this is amazing. I never thought I would see this.
So did you ever hook up with any princesses?
My girlfriend at the time when I worked for Disney was Belle. And this girl...
Did you take her to the ball?
Oh, I see what you did there.
I had to. I don't.
A few times, yeah. But this girl looked like she stepped out of the cartoon. I mean, she was the spitting image. And then,
well, because I know when they cast the female characters and stuff like that, like the princesses and stuff, they're very, very, very... Well, I had a girlfriend that I have a couple of friends that used to work for Disneyland.
Okay.
And they were saying that, like, the audition process is very, very brutal.
It is.
Like, they're very... And, when you see these characters, they're like perfect.
Yeah.
So, you can only imagine. But go on, you were saying.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly where I was going, but to your point, there's what they call the fur characters, which are the people in suits, where you wear a big head. And then there's the face characters, which is a prince or a princess where you can see their face and they talk. And the fur characters are obviously much easier to get cast in, whereas the face characters, you have to look like them, you have to walk like them, talk like them.
Talk like them.
It's much more of an acting gig, whereas the mascot, the fur characters, you can, kind of get by without being a real actor.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, they give you a book, and please don't sue me, Disney. I don't know. They give you a book, and you have to memorize like all the signatures and like the backstories in case the kid asks you, like, hey, where's so and so, and you're like, oh, they are here because that's what happened in the movie. And
that's exactly, because my buddy that I went to Disney World, he used to work for Disney.
Yeah.
And so we went to a character breakfast and stuff like that, and he would, like, his favorite is Rapunzel, so like he started asking questions he really was into, what was the character's name? Flynn?
Or is it
Flynn or Finn?
I don't know. I
can't remember the name.
Don't ask me.
Anyways, he thought he was hot, so he was just like, oh, hey, and said something. And I don't remember the movie Tangled very much, but he like said something to him and he just went off. And I was like, he knows his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to disappoint children.
Yeah.
They will be very sad if you don't know all the things about the movie that you are supposed to be from.
Yeah, it's crazy how, like, in character they are to that point,
And now they're going to add all the Star Wars characters and the Marvel characters.
Yep,
which is
they got
cool.
Star Wars. What's it called? Star Wars World or something.
It's called Galaxy's Edge.
That's exactly what it's called. Because I remember, no. I remembered walking through Hollywood Studios, and it was like near the. It was like near the Sci-Fi Dine-In, which is my favorite restaurant.
It's like the back left when you walk in.
Yeah, and there's this huge block off, and there was like a sign that said, "Oh, Galaxy's Edge coming soon, 2018," and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Richard has to know he's wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Yes,
sure.
of course.
I'm the kind of person that, like, when I can't sleep, I just stay up all night and read Wikipedia articles and watch YouTube. And so I end up, the stuff I'm really into is like, besides the liquor industry, is pop culture and nerd stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll stay up all night reading about, like, God, I'm such a loser. I'll stay up all night reading about like the old rides at Disney World and like the ins and outs of like how they were produced and designed and shit like that. Especially working there really kind of like made me hungry for all that information.
My friend, because he's full of knowledge when it comes to like Disney stuff. Like he's like a walking history book basically. When it comes to that
I will challenge him.
Oh, you should. You should, because when we were actually there for Epcot's 35th anniversary.
Oh, cool.
And like they had all these cool, like happy 35th or whatever. And there was like this one area where they had a video playing of like the history of Epcot and how they had all these like, because it's supposed to be an educational place, right? And it was like less Mickey, more educational stuff,
right?
And as the years went on, I guess people wanted more Mickey, and that's when they kind of started making it a little bit more like, I guess, kid friendly. Not that it wasn't kid friendly before, but adding more rides and then kind of throwing some characters here and there and shit like that.
Yeah.
And there was like certain rides that they had where I was like, I wish they still had that because I would totally rock that shit right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely
kind of disappointing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it started, it was 75-25, with the 75 being the educational stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, and they're adding, you're right. I mean, as kids and families want more, like Mickey and kid-friendly stuff, they're definitely adding a lot more.
Yeah, because like the Seas, they changed it to, Nemo, for example. Right. And then there's a couple of other different.
And they're changing the Ellen's Energy Adventure with Bill Nye to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say that. They're adding Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was funny because my buddy knows nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's like, what the fuck does Guardians of the Galaxy have to do with Epcot? And I'm like, well, it's space.
Yeah.
It's like, marketing. It'll make money. That's what it has to do with
Epcot.
I can. Do you want me to explain? Here, I'll go,
Go ahead,
down a
go ahead.
super nerd wormhole.
No, please do, 'cause I love that shit.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, he was like a child of the 80s,
Yep.
right? And all this music
Yep.
is his backstory. So the story of this ride, from what I understand, this might be hearsay, but this is what I read a Disney blog. It's because Flynn. What the fuck is his name? Now I got confused by.
God.
I got confused by.
Now you got me all fucked
Tingle?
up.
Tangle? Okay, Star-Lord. The point is that Star-Lord...
Are you
Peter
talking about
Quill.
Star Wars?
Peter Quill.
Peter
Quill.
Peter Quill.
I blanked out on his name too.
think-
I just watched Guardians the other night.
I think I just had a stroke.
I blanked out on his name too. Yeah.
The point is...
Please don't die. We're not doctors.
Yeah. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to make it about how he went to Epcot when he was a kid before he was taken by aliens and learned X, Y, and Z. And this ride is going to be going back in time with Star-Lord when he was a kid at Epcot and about him learning about X, Y, and Z. So it still has an educational component, but it's also
going to be like, oh, look, Guardians of the Galaxy kids. Yeah.
But here's what Peter Quill learned when he was at Epcot when he was a kid.
Right.
That kind of thing.
My favorite
Which is a
ride
cool
is
spin.
still Spaceship Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Spaceship Earth is like the best thing ever. Because you're talking about history, going
Yeah.
back in time, and then, where everything
They're
began.
going to update that thing soon.
They have to, because it's like, I think the
future part is like, we have the internet.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, we can move past that now.
How's the world of tomorrow these days?
In Magic Kingdom,
Sure.
Tomorrowland.
It's a great, big,
Well,
beautiful
I remember-
tomorrow. That one?
That's the Carousel of Progress.
That Carousel. Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
I'm not entirely sure. I went to Epcot in 5th grade.
Oh, I think he's talking about. Okay, no, not Carousel of
Okay,
Progress.
so no, I understand what he's talking about. So there's Magic Kingdom, which is a park in Disney World.
Yes.
Right.
You
There's-
go inside
yeah.
Magic Kingdom, and there's 6 lands.
Yeah.
One of the lands is called Tomorrowland, and inside of Tomorrowland is a ride called the Carousel of Progress, which is the song that
And
you're
I
singing.
Yeah, and I love
This
that.
is how much of a fucking nerd I am.
Well, not only that, Carousel of Progress needs to an update too, because it stops in the 80s.
They are, yeah, they're
It stops
updating
in,
it.
or no, the 90s.
I think it's the 90s.
It's the
'cause
90s.
They're wearing like
they're wearing the VR
Yes.
thing, but it's still so 90s.
and the oven talks.
Yeah, the oven talks.
The oven is Siri, basically.
And then you're like, okay, you guys need to update this.
Yeah.
shit. But that thing's also cool. I like that one. Yeah.
Man, wow, sorry. Wayside Disney tangent. I
No,
apologize.
it's all good.
It's all good.
I'm a total Disney nerd, so it's okay.
Yeah, I've been to Disneyland once, and I've been to Disney World once, and that was with my grandparents when I was in 5th grade.
Okay, yeah.
I definitely think, a lot of people think it's for kids. I definitely tell adults, go back when you're an adult because you can actually appreciate it.
I agree.
You're not like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, you can actually
totally agree.
appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to go to drink around the world.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh, I always win when I go drinking around the world. My buddy and I.
I accept your challenge.
Oh, let's do it because I would always, because they have a scoring system.
Yeah.
And you get points for every food that you eat, every drink that you drink, and then a bunch of other shit.
Wait a minute, I get points for food? I'm so fucking
Yeah, but like when I went with my buddy, I would always drink, like there would be some countries where I would drink 2 drinks or whatever and eat something, and then I would beat him beat him by a bunch of points. Now in Mexico, they have I don't know if they have it anymore. Someone was saying that they don't do it anymore, but I don't know if that's true. I never confirmed it. But at my first trip out there, which was like a few years ago, he was like, because I'm a Scorpio, he's like, you have to do scorpion shot. Because they had, you know what a scorpion shot is?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they take the scorpion from the tequila and then
They don't do that at Disney anymore.
They don't do it anymore?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, when we went, they were still doing it because I asked for it. And the lady came back and she was like, unfortunately, the bottle's too full, so I can't fish out the scorpion. I was like, so I looked at my buddy, damn, I can't do the scorpion shot. That's such a womp. Sorry, can't do it. And then I never bothered to try again. And someone was saying they don't do it anymore. So I was like, well, lucked out.
That sucks. I've done scorpion shots in real life. Like
Yeah.
Disney, I guess, is real life. I don't know.
No, it's they really have them there, but they don't do it anymore apparently. So
Does it count? Do you get bonus points if you actually drank in that country in real life? Like, I've drank in Mexico, I've drank in Germany, I've drank...
no, it has to be
And nothing to do with Disney.
Yeah, it has to be in.
I just want extra points for fucking
There's
doing
11
it in real
countries.
life,
There's
goddammit.
11 countries. You can either start in Mexico, end up in Canada, or start in Canada, end up in Mexico.
Yeah.
And the middle point is always America.
Yeah,
So
one of
there's
those
never
does-
anything cool to drink in America. You're like,
One of those
just
doesn't work
beer.
in real life at all.
Yeah.
You can't start in Mexico and end up in Canada.
Especially with like Morocco in the middle. It just doesn't work like that.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
I have to say something that I was thinking about earlier. So we're off on this huge... We've been talking about video games and Disney and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. since I met you through Bobby, I've listened to a couple of your episodes, and on the drive here, I drove from San Diego, listened to some episodes. I feel like this episode, me talking right now, out of all the episodes I've heard from you guys, is the lamest so far.
It's not.
Because wait, let me explain why. Because a couple episodes I've listened to, I'll talk about injecting things into penises, draining penises. Some girl talked about having like a cross etched into her chest.
Yeah.
Right? Anal, all those things. And I'm listening and I'm like, oh, awesome, cool, this is a great podcast to go on. And then I get here and we talk about Disney, which is my own fault, but I just think it's fucking hilarious.
Well, okay.
There are people at home
so
when are they going to...
I have another podcast that's completely pop culture nerd shit.
Yeah.
People love that shit. So it doesn't matter if we talk about sex one episode and then we talk about nerds. Because people can relate to that kind of shit and they like that sort of
Nerds
thing.
fuck too.
This is true. This is
Speaking
true.
of which, anal with Bell?
And just a side note, my podcast where I talk about pop culture stuff, there's no talk of sex ever.
Yeah.
And people still love it. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I just thought it was funny because I was listening to episodes on the way here, and I was like, this is going to be such a change of pace for these guys. So,
Oh, no, we'll get it out of you.
okay, cool.
So, did you ever take Bell in the costume?
No, unfortunately. We made out in the costume, but yeah, but I mean, Disney does not. I mean, the Disney police would have been on me in a second. They have eyes everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't they have like the underground? Yep.
Yeah.
Would you gone to Disney jail for that?
Disney has its own jail and its own police force on grounds. I don't know what they would have done. They probably just would have fired me. Both of us, I'm assuming. So,
Have you witnessed? Okay, because my buddy that used to work for Disney, he's told me some crazy stories that he's witnessed. Have you witnessed anything crazy while working there?
yeah. One time I was in the back of Disney World, which is like the Toontown area, where you could do like the meet and greets with a lot of the characters.
Okay.
Why is Toontown always second-class citizens? It's like that in Roger Rabbit also. What the fuck? So fucked up.
All the way in the back. They just stick them all the way in the back.
Don't discriminate
I
against
think
Toons,
they're getting rid of
motherfuckers.
Toontown at Disneyland too.
They are for, I think it's becoming the Star Wars area. I think they had
I
to,
believe so.
In Critter Canyon, they had to knock down for Star Wars Land. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, okay. So I was in Toontown, and there was a kid that bit Tigger. Tigger was there, right? A kid who was taking a picture with Tigger bit Tigger, and you have all these like Disney Secret Service guys come in, and like the Tigger like yelped. The guy was like ah, and you have basically all these people coming out of nowhere who, I mean, at the drop of a hat, Disney could be sued by anybody. So you have these like Disney Secret Service people coming out and like pulling them apart and being like, "Are you okay? Do you want to press charges?" Blah blah blah, shit like that.
Wow.
So that was kind of weird, And what I learned is that there are Disney Secret Service people all over the park. They're in plain clothes. They have headset. They have like a little earpiece in. So with every character, you'll see an attendant, which is a Disney person in full costume. They have like a lanyard and a name tag. It's very obvious that they are an employee. But then for every, couple of those people, there's like a Disney Secret Service person in plain clothes walking around just doing, I don't know, just keeping their eyes open for anything that could go wrong, I guess.
Looking for assassins.
Yeah, I guess so. More or less, yeah. Looking for people trying to beat up characters, I mean, and that's the other thing about being in those suits. You can't see everything,
right?
So you are at the mercy of your handlers, quote unquote.
Yeah.
All those the attendants, the people who work for Disney who are visible. You need them to help you. If you get knocked over, you can't get up without help. You can't get out of that thing unless somebody's there to help you.
I'm sure it's hard not to trample children too.
Yeah, especially some of those costumes, since you can't see everywhere, you end up running into people, and that's why whenever you see like a character walk in or out of the playing field, whatever you want to call it, there's always a person like right in front
guiding,
of them.
yeah.
You're usually looking down at their feet, going, "Okay, where the fuck am I going?"
Yeah.
It's a weird place.
So is the underwear bit true? Did they give you assigned underwear?
Yeah, that is true. How'd you know about that?
I know things.
Okay.
Wait, what? I don't even know about this.
So
I'm a
they're
big
called
Disney nerd.
They're called basics. So when you go to work, if you're putting on one of the the fur character outfits, you get to work and you go into your locker room or whatever, and you change. You have to put on what they call basics, and you get them from this big room and you scan them. So like basics are like black gym shorts, a gray T-shirt, and like socks. and whenever you take them, you have to scan a little barcode on them, and so it matches the piece of clothing with your employee ID number. And so if they go missing, they charge you for the quote unquote basics, right? And so then you get into the costume. So underneath those costumes, everybody's wearing the exact same thing. They're wearing black gym shorts, a gray T-shirt, and each costume has like different versions of the shoes, I think. So, but yes, it's all the same. You're also wearing underwear under those basics, but you are correct. Everybody's wearing the same clothes underneath. Yeah.
I know stuff.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes
I don't just
sense.
drink alcohol, people.
And they scan. It's this crazy like giant computer system. They scan every single thing on your body, so that if anything goes missing, you pay for it. It comes out of your paycheck, I guess. I don't know.
What happens if you soil them?
That's a good question. I don't know.
He's like, that's never happened.
It didn't happen to me. I'm sure it's happened.
It has to have.
In how long have these parks been open? Since the 50s? I mean, it had to have happened at some point.
Somebody had to have puked in the head, too.
It's tough, man. Like, some of those heads are claustrophobic. I freaked out once. It's hard to breathe in those things sometimes. So, yeah.
Get some kid with horrible BO hugging up on you.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's never happened to me. I'm sure it's happened. Every kid that I came in contact with was so happy to see whatever character was in front of them. And these kids are just like giddy, which is adorable. It was a lot of fun.
Be better if the kid was making you cocktails. That's all I'm just saying. Sticking with it.
This is true. Yes, this is true. It gets a little weird, I think, when you're wearing a furry costume and you're demanding things of children, right? I think that's pushing
Only if
boundaries
it's
a little
alcohol, it's fine.
Okay.
Demanding anything else, it gets weird.
Touche. All right.
As we take a swig.
Fair. Okay, I'm just gonna drink now. These are good. I know you were concerned about your cocktail ability, but these are good.
Glad you're enjoying them.
This is
Spicy.
more than I would have done. I would have just thrown tequila and margarita mix together. You went all out.
No. When we make cocktails here, we make real cocktails.
Nice.
Yes, we do.
This is good stuff, man.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I've gotten in the habit. I drink so much of this stuff that I've just gotten in the habit of doing it with soda water, and so like,
Oh yeah, because you already got that tangy
Yeah.
flavor.
and it's already since it's already has some flavor in there. I like just putting some soda water in there. My business partner loves doing it with Negronis, which is pretty interesting.
That's fancy.
Yeah, and then like for Joe Schmo on the street, we like margaritas and Mexican mules are the ones that seem to do the best. When people buy bottles at
Oh
the
yeah,
grocery.
Mexican mules. I don't know if you heard the episode of which we got really wasted on this bottle, but we did mention how we like the art, the logo, like how the heart is
cool,
actually
yeah.
a pepper. That's brilliant.
So this is cool for you nerds. Buddy of mine from New Orleans, his name is Ron Deming. You can look him up online. He's a comic book artist, ex-comic book artist.
Oh, okay.
Some of his work is hanging in Lucas Ranch.
What's his name?
Ron Deming, Domingue. I think that's it. And he did the bottle design. He did the ribcage and the
Nice.
font. And he's one of the I follow him on Facebook, and he went to Lucas Ranch, and they were like hanging his artwork in Lucas Ranch, and it's pretty cool. So
I've been invited to Skywalker Ranch so many times.
Skywalker Ranch, I'm calling it Lucas Ranch, sorry.
Same
difference.
Same diff.
Yeah.
And every time, because I have a buddy that he's always up there and stuff with his, he's got a production company and all this kind of stuff. And every time he hits me up, he always hits me up at the very last minute, like, hey, you don't happen to be up north, do you? And I'm like, no, why? He's like, oh, I'm at Skywalker Ranch. I was going to see if you wanted to come. I'm like, why would you ask me the day of, bro? Like, tell me like a week in advance. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's just like, it's not a bad drive from down here to up there, but still, like, every single time, because he's invited me a couple times, and every single time he does it, it's the day of. You don't happen to be up north, do you? I'm like, dude. So every time he says those words to me, I'm like, no, I'm not. Next time, please hit me up like a week in advance.
and then let me know, and I'll drive from San Diego.
There we go.
Yeah,
and we can
cool.
just do a road trip, and then it'll
Sweet.
be amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'll tag along.
All right. Wait, since we're talking about nerd shit, what is the name of your other podcast? I need to subscribe to this.
Advanced Cruise Control.
Oh,
CRUZ.
I like
And it's
that.
advanced with a D. at
Like
the end.
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
That's
No
that's-
horrible boats.
That is hilarious.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
No boats.
I apologize.
Hopefully some Sandra Bullock one day, but no boats.
You know what's really funny about a fun fact? Useless trivia? Say always.
Always.
And
Sorry, I missed my cue there. Sorry.
No. And the only reason why I'm even mentioning this is because while I was back to Disney again, while we were at Disney, we were staying in this condo, and I don't have cable at home or anything like that, and HBO was on. They had HBO on the TVs, and the original Speed came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that movie came out in like '96 or some shit. Like I was like 11.
I saw that shit in the theaters.
Yeah. So it comes
movie.
on, so I started watching it, and I was like, oh my god, I remember liking this movie when I was a kid. And I started looking up some useless facts about the movie, and so Sandra Bullock, Halle Berry was initially contacted to be a part of that film, and then she declined. And then
She didn't want to be the stereotypical black bus driver. That's why she dropped out.
And it's funny too because when they asked her after the movie blew up, they asked Halle Berry. They interviewed her and they said, "So do you regret taking that role?" She said, "I don't regret it at all. You want to know why? Because I don't think that movie would have done for me what it did for Sandra Bullock's career."
Yeah.
She's like, I would have just been a black woman driving a bus.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
and I think Nicolas Cage was up for Keanu Reeves part 2. Which
Yeah, that would have been super weird.
that would have been
different
really
movie.
weird. It's funny too because Keanu Reeves, when they were casting and they're like, "Oh, how about Keanu Reeves?" They didn't like his hair.
Yeah.
So like, you need to do something about your hair. And so then
Random.
He like did a military buzz cut almost, and they hated it. That they were like, "Oh my god, we can't like push the schedule, we can't push the filming like ahead." And then I can't remember what happened, but
I feel like we've read or heard the same thing because this is all very familiar.
yeah, like I hate your hair. Like first they said you need to do something about your hair. Okay, fine, I'll cut it. But then they were like, "Oh, it looks awful." They're like, "What do we do?"
I felt it was appropriate for the character.
Yeah, I mean it was short. It was short, like whatever.
Like he was a special,
He's like a cop, right?
Yeah, he's a SWAT officer. Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
the hair
Those
makes
guys
sense.
are kind of paramilitary, anyways.
And I can't remember who what's his name? The other guy, his buddy, sidekick.
Oh,
That's one of the Jeffs.
Jeff
Dan.
That's Daniels. It is Daniels.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the bad guy.
And
Dennis Hopper was so much
they were
better.
trying to do it. They were going to do.
Well, he was
you
gonna be a
know
twist.
exactly the same shit.
It was going to be a
twist
twist.
that
Yeah.
he was the one
I feel like
doing
this is
it all.
This is a podcast I just
Dude.
listened to where they watch old movies. Or
Yeah, no,
something.
seriously, that's exactly what it was. They were going to do it. The original script was it was going to be a twist that Jeff Daniels was the one
Which I
that
think
was
would
like,
have been cooler.
Yeah, but then they were like, "Nah, he's too funny of a guy. Like we can't.
Yeah.
No, let's just make it." No.
God, you're as much of a nerd as I am. What the fuck, man? I was embarrassed for a while. This is great. All right, I don't feel bad anymore.
You shouldn't. We're all nerds here.
Yeah.
Like I'm embarrassed that I don't know this shit about speed.
Good, you fucking weirdo.
Fucking like, look at my fucking living room. I should know this.
Yeah, for those of you at home, this is the most impressive DVD collection I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You're
Everybody
also
that-
not the first guest to comment on that.
I'm sure it's
every
90%
guest
porn.
that rolls up in here, they're always like, "Dude, your film collection here, bro."
It takes up like a third of the apartment. It's pretty fantastic.
I like movies. What? I thought I could be a screenwriter at one fucking point. I can't.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
Not too late.
I'm trying to write a screenplay right now, but
Yeah.
but horror. You know what I mean? Because there's not.
Why do you say but horror?
But
That's
horror,
cool.
because a lot of okay, so like a lot of people give shit to the horror genre because they're like, oh, anybody can make a horror film because that's the one thing that anybody can go pitch somewhere and people are like, sure, whatever, we'll fund it or whatever.
Maybe, but I feel like horror's made a renaissance, right? I feel like
And
it's not looked down upon anymore,
It's
right?
it's coming up now. Like if you look
Yeah.
at all the films that have come out now, you're like, okay, they remade it.
Right.
And they're like, holy shit. I mean, it was a little bit kind of Stranger Things-ish, but another thing like that. Stranger
Sure.
Things on Netflix. All these different horror things that are now coming out, people are kind of appreciating it and enjoying it. And they're like, okay, there's like this whole new appreciation for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of a genre in the film world where everybody kind of looks down upon it, like, oh, it's horror.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
like, we don't really care too much about that.
Filmmakers
You know.
probably look down on it, but I mean,
For sure.
the consumer doesn't, and it still makes money.
Yeah, and that's
so-
why people
Fuck it.
fund it.
It's
Even
show
if it's a
business.
shit
Yeah.
horror script, because I've seen a lot of shitty horror films where I'm like, how the fuck did this movie get made? You know what I mean? Like,
Low budget, high returns.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the thing.
that's very true.
People are like, oh, horror genre. Like everybody loves horror, so yeah, we'll fund your stupid movie.
What was the Paranormal Activity was one of like the highest grossing movies of all time compared to what it cost to make.
Oh yeah.
It cost like
Yeah.
$5,000 to make something like that, and it made like millions and millions of
It
dollars.
was like the highest grossing horror film in like a very, very long time. It
Yeah.
like surpassed.
Blair Witch. Because Blair Witch was done dirt cheap also.
Oh yeah, but it surpassed.
Well, because
Blair
I
Witch
just
for
meant
sure.
like the ratio to what it costs, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, if we're talking about that, yeah.
Because
Because
it's
I'm trying to think of
one
what
of the cheapest movies ever made, apparently.
because I think the budget for it was, and I don't
for it or for it.
it.
No, the new It had a pretty high budget.
Yeah, they had a they had a really high budget. I'm trying to look it up right now because it usually has the information on here.
Go to Box Office Mojo.
Actually, okay, Box Office Mojo.
Yes.
Aha. Okay, wait. Let's see.
See, I know a thing or two.
But they're important things. That's all.
Not really.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Nothing I know is important. Just alcohol, basically.
That's fucking important. Are you kidding?
I always get dumb questions about Fireball specifically. But
So according to Box Office Mojo, the remake, to be more specific here. Okay, so where does it say that what their budget was? Because production budget $35 million.
That's it?
for the new It?
Yeah, for the It remake, $35
I guess it was a mostly unknown cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a younger cast. Like the most of the cast was all young actors that like only
the
one
cast
of them
was
I
cheap.
recognized, and it was the kid from Stranger Things.
I have to be honest, I haven't seen it yet. It seems like a movie that doesn't need too much CGI, right? Did it have a lot?
There's a fair amount.
There's
Okay.
a fair amount of CGI in it, but
Okay.
the movie I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Better than the Tim Curry one?
I mean,
It's different?
Tim, it's different.
Very
It's
different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
They wanted to go in a darker direction for sure, and like I mean,
Which is funny because
Pennywise
like,
is much creepier.
okay.
Pennywise is definitely much creepier.
when like looking back at the old It with Tim Curry, it's so silly. But when it first came out, it was so fucking scary and creepy.
That's
No, I
what-
rewatched it. It's still not bad.
Yeah. I mean,
And it's really odd to look at the cast. Seth Green was in it.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I know him. It's so funny.
Seth Green was in it. Harry Anderson from Night Court.
Harry Anderson from Night Court and John Ritter from Three's Company.
Yep.
Oh my god, I forgot that he was in that. He was
Yep.
when they're adults.
They're so like that whole cast. They're so weird together. It's such a strange. It's good, but it's such a strange cast.
It's like, this is like a TV all-star cast. And
Yeah.
So, according to this website, their budget was $35 million, and their domestic total gross is $320 million.
Okay.
well, a 10-time return is pretty
And
good.
that's just for the domestic. Worldwide, foreign okay, so worldwide total $653 million.
Huh.
Yeah, they're definitely
All right.
making the sequel.
Yeah. That's.
Oh, they're definitely making
It
a
too,
sequel.
Electric Boogaloo.
They totally opened the door for that. I mean, you know.
Well, I mean, they opened the door in the movie. There's been other movies where they've opened the door and then like, oh, that flopped horribly. We're not making the sequel.
That's true. That's
Right.
true. Very, very true.
I mean, does Stephen King have to write? There's no novel.
Well,
sequel
so
to
unlike
it,
the
right?
original Tim Curry version, they didn't flashback between the kids
you're right.
and the
You're
adults.
right. I forgot about that. So now they will do the adult version.
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
because that's
Okay.
you said you haven't seen it yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so this version is just all when they're children.
As opposed to the original where it goes back and
Yeah,
forth.
and that's
Right.
why they're like, okay, chapter 2 is going to come up next, and that's
Okay.
when they're
That's smart.
Yeah.
Milk it. Stretch it out. Milk it for all it's worth.
Though I liked in the TV version the flashbacks and each character's point of view of what happened.
Yeah, because it goes
See,
back
I
and
barely
forth
remember
immediately.
the original.
It's on my iTunes if you want to watch it at some
I
point.
need to rewatch it because I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, cool. Anyway, I hope the screenplay thing works out. That's cool. I don't.
Yeah, just for funsies. I'm like doing a lot of sketch stuff lately, and
Where do you do sketch stuff?
Just for my podcast and for my YouTube channel.
Cool.
Kind of doing like a bunch of I do a lot of film reviews on there.
Okay.
And
I have to subscribe to all this shit.
yeah, and we
Jesus.
do every movie review that we do. We kind of do a little sketch intro, to the film review. But now we're kind of getting into actually filming. Like sketches, and
Cool.
stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
And now I'm kind of like I kind of want to write a horror film. I mean, I kind of used to do that when I was a kid. When I was younger, I was heavy into writing, and
was
so
too.
now I'm kind of like inspired to get back into it and be like, hey, I can fucking do this, and be like, produce my fucking horror film.
Yeah. You go, girl.
So
Nice. Okay. Sure. I'll take some more tequila. Oh man, this is so much better than having to drink Fireball on the podcast that I used to do.
So, I guess you do get a lot of annoying questions about Fireball, but what is the origin of Fireball?
I spoke too soon. So you're talking about my career with Fireball,
All
or
of
just
it.
any of it?
Any of it. Jump in wherever is good.
So, okay, where to begin? This is such a long, winding tale. So Fireball was originally a Canadian product. Oh, was that me? That was my stomach.
me.
Excuse me.
Another shot of
Sorry.
Ghost.
Sorry.
Did that come out of my butt? All right. So Fireball was a Canadian product that was called Dr. McGillicuddy.
Dr.
Wait a minute.
McGillicuddy.
I remember Dr. McGillicuddy. That was the same recipe?
Yeah, so Fireball had, well, okay, so
McGillicuddy.
kind of. So Dr. McGillicuddy was a line of schnapps that had like 6 different flavors.
Yeah, I had the peppermint
Because it was big in Chicago, right? It was big in the Midwest. It was very blue-collar, like mining town schnapps. Made its way into all the Midwest cities. Boston, it was popular. And so
Wow.
Dr. McGillicuddy had like 6 flavors, right? One of them was cinnamon, and it was the most popular of all the flavors. So without getting too much into the business aspects of it, whoever, the product changed hands a couple times, and someone decided, okay, cool, this is the one flavor that sells the best of McGillicuddy. Let's separate it and rebrand this one flavor and sell this one flavor, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and so it started to come across the border, I think even before they rebranded it, to Seattle, because bartenders who were going back and forth between Canada and Seattle were bringing it back from Canada to share with their friends in Seattle, and it kind of became this underground secret handshake of bartenders who were like, hey man, have you heard of this stuff? And the reason the bartenders liked it is because it didn't smell like alcohol in their breath, so they could drink it behind the bar, and their boss would know, and it's low proof. It's only 66 proof. Get it? 66.6, 666. And since it's low proof, you can drink a lot of it and not get super drunk. And so bartenders were drinking it at work, and it became the drink for bartenders who wanted to drink at work. So that's how it caught on in the States. The company that owned it was like, oh, hey, this is a small brand, but maybe it has some potential. So that's when I got hired. I got hired after they rebranded it. And I was basically the first national brand ambassador, more or less like the first employee, besides salespeople. I was like on the creative side. So I managed the social media, which, that job this is the early days of social media, like right around the time Facebook started introducing business pages. And then that turned into me bar hopping around the country with a credit card. And it was basically like there wasn't a lot of budget because it was a small brand. So I just got a credit card and bar hopped across the country and bought people shots and drinks. And that was like how Fireball blew up.
And it was all because of Dr. McGillicuddy's.
That was the original brand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did they get away with calling it whiskey?
It's Canadian whiskey. So, I think that, look, between you and me, it's a liqueur. You know what I mean? It's a schnapps.
I'm looking at their website right now, and they have like a shit ton of other flavors. They have
McGillicuddy?
they have a coffee. They have menthol mint.
Oh. Yeah.
Cherry.
Well, now keep in mind the brands are completely separate now.
No.
At one time,
I know
they were
that.
connected. Okay,
I'm just
cool.
saying, like, it's interesting because, like, you were saying that they had a cinnamon because they don't have that flavor anymore.
Right, because that is Fireball.
Because that's Fireball. So, like,
Right.
they have all these other flavors, but cinnamon's not one of them anymore, clearly for obvious reasons. But yeah, apple pie liqueur, peppermint liqueur, that I feel like would taste like mouthwash or something.
It's
Yeah,
like
it does.
it's like Rumplemints,
Or
Goldschlager,
Goldschlager.
which a lot of people
for
love.
Fireball.
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
They even have a wild grape liqueur, raw vanilla, butterscotch, and then they have their whiskeys, and then all those are just like apple, peach, and blah,
Right.
blah, but no cinnamon because that's Fireball.
Yeah.
Fireball.
It was a weird, wild ride working for that company. To quote Johnny Carson.
So did anyone ever try to trade you sex for Fireball?
Interesting segue. I see what you did there. No. I definitely got, approached by women in bars because they knew that I had a credit card and was just buying drinks for everyone. But nobody ever used the words, hey, I will trade you sex for
We
Fireball.
actually had a guest on the show who requested Fireball.
Oh, really?
As the because of the drink of choice because
Sure.
it's in now we drink
Right.
So we're like we like to kind of cater to the guests with
Sure.
whatever kind of alcohol they prefer to drink, and she was like Fireball.
Sure. Cool.
We hope the future guests choose Ghost Tequila because that's what they're getting.
I'll just keep sending you bottles. Yeah, I can't drink it anymore. I drank it nonstop for like 4 years. I probably drank more of it
Ghost
than any
Tequila?
human being on earth. No, Fireball.
Fireball, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So I left Fireball to start another company, and then a few years later, we started Ghost. But I worked for Fireball for a couple of years, and I just can't do it anymore.
I can't drink Fireball
Drank
anymore either.
so much of it.
I drank some with our guest, obviously, but I remembered when I was weaning myself away from Jaeger because that was kind of my jam for a while.
Yeah.
So much that someone bought me a Jaeger tap. And
Of course.
And that was like my college days, man. Like I was drinking fucking Jaeger, and like, why are you drinking Jaeger? So, anyways, I did the whole Jaeger thing for a few years. Had my tap. I would fill that thing up and have parties, and then black out. And it was amazing, And then I kind of grew up, and I was like, I need to like get off the Jaeger and into something different. And then
you changed the Fireball?
This is a funny story.
Sorry.
This is a funny story. My girlfriend who loved Jaeger, right? Because I remember going to this party. I went to this industry party or whatever, and one of my girlfriends that used to drink, there was a couple of girls that I know that used to drink the fuck out of Jaeger, because that's what we would do. We'd go to the parties together and black out on fucking Jaeger.
Sure.
So this one girl was all like, I'm doing something different now. I'm drinking whiskey. And I was like, amazing, And then I had some whiskey with her. And then our other girlfriend, because it was a mutual friend, she was like, oh, I'm into Fireball now. And I'm like, okay, you're into whiskey. And Fireball is a whiskey, but different, you know what I mean?
Sure, more or less.
And so then I started doing Fireball with her, and then I was like, oh, it's got a little cinnamon thing to it. That was very short-lived, because then I started getting into Jameson, and then more, then my taste kind of started changing a little bit. But
sure.
I drank the fuck out of Fireball for a while after getting myself off of Jaeger, and then...
I think that's a logical step. And when I was with Fireball, that was the big business controversy that was happening in the industry, because Fireball was tanking Jaeger. Jaeger sales declined faster during the Fireball years, when it was really exploding, than any liquor brand has. I'm just making shit up. I don't actually know numbers, but Jaeger declined very quickly when
numbers
Fireball
aren't
was
important.
on its rise.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm being
which is kind of funny, because a lot of girls that I knew that drank Jaeger. Is just coincidentally, they were like, Fireball. I'm like, this is so weird that all of you guys used to drink Jaeger and now you're drinking Fireball. And then I kind of hopped on that wagon for a while, but then slowly kind of started getting into other stuff. So,
yeah. And Fireball's plateauing. It's. I don't think its sales have gone down yet, but the rise has stopped.
Well, the irony here is that before I even got into Jaeger, I was totally in tequila for the longest time. It was all about tequila, and then for some reason I got into Jaeger. And then to whiskey, and then I'll obviously occasionally, do the tequila.
Hey, you don't have to blow smoke up my ass.
I basically will drink anything except for vodka.
Okay,
like
that's fair.
I am not a vodka girl, and it's so funny because people will meet me. People either know or they don't know. Like usually people see me, like when I'm in a public place at a bar, they're like, "You look like a whiskey kind of girl," and I'm like, "That is correct." But then on the flip side, I'll get dudes coming up to me and they'll be like, okay, so what kind of flavor vodka do you like? And I'm like, I'm insulted right now. I'm like,
as you should be.
I'm like, do I look like a pussy to you? Sorry,
well,
if you drink vodka.
No. Every now and then, the thing about me and vodka is that I've drank flavored things for so long because I worked for Fireball.
Right.
I started a spicy tequila company. Sometimes every now and then, I want something that tastes like nothing because I've drank so many flavors over the years.
Right.
So
sure.
what I like about vodka. It's kind of like vodka is my day off drink, When I'm working, I'll drink Ghost. I used to drink Fireball. On my day off, quote unquote, I don't have a day off, but you get the metaphor.
Yeah.
On my day off drinking, I will drink vodka because I'm like, oh, this gets me drunk, and I don't actually have to taste flavors and things like that. Because even whiskey and bourbon, which I love, even now after drinking so many flavored alcohols, sometimes even like some of those will be a little too sweet for me. It's probably just because I ruined myself on Fireball and drinking so much.
Yeah, your palate is just like, what's going on here?
And now if I taste just a rum or a bourbon with the slightest hint of like caramel or something like that, I'm like, oh fuck, gross. I just want to, I want to drink rubbing alcohol for a day.
Well, see, I was gonna say,
some
vodka
pop-off
to me,
vodka.
drinking a shot of vodka tastes like drinking straight rubbing alcohol.
It does. And
that's why I'm like, if I'm gonna drink that, you better mix it with something.
Yeah.
Richard, you're gonna start carrying around some Everclear, just palate cleanser with it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, okay.
Hey, nothing will clear up everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of people say about Ghost is like it clears your sinuses, which which for me, somebody with lifelong sinus problems, I'm like, fuck yeah, I love that endorsement. That's fantastic.
It's not doing it for me yet. Maybe.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
I'll just keep drinking more.
Pour straight into your nose. Straight in.
Snorting Ghost, yo.
It's the most painful thing ever. I do not endorse that. Do not try this at home. Please do not sue me.
Yeah. The show does not endorse it either. Once again, we are not doctors.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, and I'm not allowed to say that tequila has any medicinal properties, so don't expect it to.
All tequila will do for you, it'll get you drunk. That I can guarantee.
Everybody always sends me these articles. There's all kinds of online articles about how like tequila is a probiotic, and some doctors say tequila is good for you, and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm sure there's some truth to that, but no liquor brand is actually allowed to say anything like that.
Thankfully, I'm not a liquor brand. Tequila will bring you immortality.
As long as you say it and I don't.
I mean, once again, I am not a doctor, lawyer, physical therapist.
Or the owner of a liquor company.
Or the owner of a liquor company.
See, I can't say that.
If I was the owner of a liquor company, I'd be dead.
I don't know how I'm still alive.
Are you sure you are?
I'm actually a ghost.
It's really good branding.
Get it, you guys?
Bump.
Thank you. Thanks for indulging me.
It's the best branding ever. The owner of the company is a ghost. Come on.
Spooky ghost.
So you guys doing any crazy Halloween promotions being Ghost?
Yeah, we're doing what's cool is that we're distributed in 5-6 states now. We're in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Texas, California, and we're about to launch in Colorado. The cool thing is that we're at this point now where we have parties happening in every state or every major city that we're in, which is, we're still kind of a startup, I guess. It's tough to manage all this stuff, but we've gotten to that point where it's cool to see this thing grow, and we've got more parties than I can actually be at, which is kind of cool as a boss to see, like, okay, cool, the employees are just running with it and they're doing their shit. So in San Diego, we're doing this cool party at like this taco and tequila bar Tuesday night. In LA, Friday, like the weekend before Halloween, we're doing this crazy secret costume party I'm not supposed to talk about till after. I'll let you know how it goes. And then in Boston, we're doing this big warehouse party that's actually It themed. And there's going to be actors. There's going to be actors walking around in costume and stuff. New Orleans, we're doing some kind of big party like in an old church. So anyway, the point is like, yeah, we're doing some cool shit, but it just depends. Everything in each city is tailored, to the city.
Hence why the LA party is exclusive.
Right. Yes, exactly. The other cities, any asshole can get in.
Even me? Maybe I'll drive down to San Diego.
I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't let me into my party in LA. They'd be like, excuse me, sir. No, you can't come in.
Sorry, sir. Your star rating's not high enough.
Whoops. But no, I swear I paid for this thing. Get the fuck out, sir.
Leave the bottles. Leave the bottles. You got to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens. I would not be surprised.
Well, if it does, I have an open invite for the industry party I'm going to on Friday.
Yeah, so what, are you allowed to talk about this party?
It's a fucking industry party being put on by a bunch of the agencies.
What's the occasion?
I don't even fucking know.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
Halloween.
Halloween, right?
party?
Halloween.
Yeah, but it's at Beetle House and the 2 bars next to it.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, cool. Is it one of those bars around there? Star Wars bar?
Yeah,
Across
it's
the
across
street.
the street.
Okay.
It's called the
Scum and Villainy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Scum and Villainy.
that's a good name for a Star Wars bar. I like that.
Yep.
Especially to not get sued.
Yeah, because I know that they were dealing with legalities and such things when they were like opening up that bar. That's all I know about that.
Rest in peace, Loaded.
Yeah.
What?
So that used to be like the rock bar I hung out at.
Okay.
And then it shut down with no notice and came back as Scum and Villainy, which was supposed to be a pop-up, a temporary pop-up. Now it's permanent.
Gotcha. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Rest
Loaded.
in peace, Loaded. Yeah. Yeah. Womp womp.
I
It's
know.
no Snake and Jake's, I'm sure.
No. LA has no bar like Snake and Jake's.
No.
Yeah, that's right. So what's last call here is 2?
Yes.
Oh, that sucks. I feel so bad for you guys.
Yeah.
It's probably saved my life.
Although
That's
they
fair.
just passed a bill
They're trying to get it till what, 4?
to 4, and I think it just got passed.
It
actually.
did?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
sweet.
someone told me. I never confirmed it, but yeah, still 4. Which, I mean, I work at a nightclub, so I'm not quite sure if they've decided whether or not
Jesus,
they want
you do a lot of shit.
I do a lot of shit. Yeah.
Crews don't sleep.
You're making the rest of us look bad.
I
I do is make tequila.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to grind up all the agave.
Yeah, I do it with my hands myself.
That's why they're so rugged.
I know, for those of you who can't see at home, I'm super ripped. I have the biggest arms. I'm tan from working in the sun all
Like
day.
fucking Popeye over here.
No, Google me. I look like a pasty white guy who got like his pink from being left out in the sun for too long.
Wow, so LA, Google me. So LA.
Yeah, but Google me so that you see how sad looking I am. It's self-deprecating, right?
Fair.
I'm not bragging. Sorry.
Oh no.
He's not bragging about how white he is.
Something. I'm sorry. Nightclub. Something.
Oh no, I
Sorry.
wasn't even. That was all I had.
No, that club is totally staying open until 4.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't discussed it as of yet, but I don't know how long ago that bill passed. If that's even the case, someone told me that it did.
Well, the bill, if I remember correctly, allows the cities to decide if they're going to stay
Yeah,
before.
it's not a requirement.
Right. Well, that's
But
how New
it's
Orleans
not-
is.
Yeah, it's not a requirement. If you want to do it, you can do it. I mean, we stay open till 3 a.m. anyways. We just don't serve booze past 2 a.m.
Right.
Because then you'll get in trouble. And sometimes they have, at anywhere, not just our place, anywhere they'll have vice. You know what I mean? Making
Sure.
sure that nobody's doing that.
I know a couple clubs in town where they pull bottles at 2 a.m. They won't close it at 6. They'll start serving again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's New Orleans. It's optional, but the bars can be 24 hours if they want. And what they'll do is at like 5 a.m. they'll shut the doors, flip the chairs, sweep and mop, and then reopen the doors. And if there are people in the bar when there's this one place I always think of in New Orleans called Molly's on the Market. And if there are people still in the bar when they decide to like sweep and mop, they'll just let you stay in there. And then they'll like reopen the doors, and then there'll be like 10 people waiting to get in at like 5, 6 a.m.
Wow.
I've heard stories of if it's tourists, they'll be like, "Oh, we're closed."
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's such a service industry culture in New Orleans. I mean, the whole city is built on hospitality, right? So we have this huge service industry vibe of people who are like, how in LA it's a very snooty scene in terms of like fashion and culture. In New Orleans, it's the service industry, and they'll be like, "Fuck you, you can't come in." It's like you can come in, you can't come in, and they're not judging based on how nice you're dressed like they are in LA. They're judging by like how much of a tourist or like douchebag you look.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about LA, the part of the reason that our service industry sucks is the greater majority of our service industry aren't service industry professionals. They're actors or
Right.
models
Right.
or you interview for a bar job. Like, so what are you here to do? Well, I'm here to bartend. No, I mean, what are you here in LA to do?
Right.
They don't look at it as like this is their job.
Well, New York and I worked in the service industry for years in New Orleans. Every job there is to do in a restaurant. And I was blown away by my friends who live in New York and LA who told me you had to give headshots when you apply.
Yep, you do.
I was like, what
it's
the
like going
fuck are
to
you
a fucking
talking about?
audition. Even at the nightclub, they'll because I work in bottle service and I also work in marketing.
Sure.
So I always get a lot of emails and stuff where people are like, "Oh, are you hiring?" and this and that, and then sometimes I get forwarded stuff, and then I have to forward stuff to other people to upper management and stuff like that. And every single time anybody inquires about getting hired, they're like, "Well, you can send a headshot
Wow.
and/or photos
That's so
plus your
weird.
resume." And that's like almost anywhere in LA that is a service industry job.
I mean,
Like,
Even dive bars.
Really?
Yeah, like Ye Rustic Inn, which is one of my favorite dives. They want a headshot from like barbacks.
It's bizarre.
for barbacks,
For
really?
barbacks.
That's
I mean,
really
like, okay,
fucking weird.
I hope this doesn't come out weird, but like, okay, I can understand why you'd want to see a headshot because you want attractive women working there. But how do guys like you and I get hired in a dive bar? Let's say I just want to bartend. I'm, a solid 6 at best. Like, how the fuck do I get a job bartend? Do they want to see like the beard, the neck beard dudes? Do they want to see their headshots too?
Yeah, I've had to turn in
Really?
headshots when I was looking for bar jobs. That's why I stopped looking for bar jobs.
That's so weird. They're like, oh, you're the character actor type. Come on in.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
Unless you're going to be like one of these dudes who like brings a crowd with him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I bartended here, here, and here, and like I got kind of a following.
and it's kind of like almost anywhere that you go, everybody's trying to be an actor or something in entertainment.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm an actor. Oh, I'm a writer.
Sure.
Oh, I'm a model.
Which makes sense. I mean, like New Orleans, New Orleans is the land of, and I don't mean this in a negative way, New Orleans is the land of career service industry people. There are people who move to New Orleans because they're like, I want to run a restaurant. I want to be, the best waiter that I can be. And the waiters in New Orleans, I know a waiter in New Orleans who makes over $100,000 a year because he works in fine dining, which doesn't sound like a lot, but New Orleans, $100,000 is like twice what it is in New York or LA because cost of living is so cheap. So,
And all the free meals that person's probably getting from other service industry people.
and free drinks and yeah,
Right, like,
I mean, and this
not spending any of it.
and waiting tables is tough, but like I know people who spent tons and tons of money on college, got out of college, are trying to be doctors or lawyers or marketing professionals or whatever, and making $30,000, $40,000 a year for years. And meanwhile, you have this guy waiting tables, which is a job that's frowned upon. He's making over $100,000 a year, and he's laughing to the bank, laughing all the way to the bank.
And it's all cash. So the tax man, he made $20,000 last year.
Right. Yeah. Anyway.
We're not going to name names. We don't want the IRS knocking on that dude's door.
No, I'm not going to call him out.
John, sorry. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Yeah, that really narrows it down.
I
know. Good times. Yeah, it's fun being out here in California as somebody who's not from here, but, I miss New Orleans when I go back, but when I'm not back, I don't fucking miss New Orleans. I don't know if that makes sense that I miss it more when I'm there.
Well, yeah, because you're there and you're like,
the good times,
memories, the good times, my friends, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this is home. But then you leave and you're like, oh man, I forgot how nice.
I get back to California, and I'm like, oh right, it's 74 degrees all the time.
Exactly.
It's sunny. I live on the beach.
no humidity.
Right. Yeah.
Live on the beach, not in a fucking swamp.
I got off the plane this past time to go back to New Orleans, and like that humidity just hits you like a wall. It was, it was like 102 degrees, like at 6 in the evening. Ugh. It's awful.
Your clothes just stick to you as you get off the plane.
Which is weird because growing up there, you just take it for granted, and you don't realize how bad it actually is till you live in California for a couple months, and then you go back, and you're like, oh, fuck. Now I remember.
That's exactly why I couldn't live there. That's exactly why the fucking humidity.
Hey, Chicago boy. I can't live in Chicago because it's negative 100 degrees.
Why do you think I fucking left? That's why I don't fucking live there anymore.
Oh, man. I love Chicago, and I made the mistake of going there. I've been a couple times, but I made the mistake of going once in the dead of winter, and I was like...
Why would you do that?
Because I'm an idiot, and I don't know, because I'm a fucking moron. Never again.
Yeah. Some of my friends, like good friends, I was standing in their wedding, got married in November. I'm like, if y'all are a week later, I'm not coming. Like, that is like my fucking cutoff to be in Chicago.
Yeah.
I left for a reason. If I never experience another Chicago winter, I'll die happy.
Oh, man.
In the summer, it is the best place on earth. I went back in May. Bars I used to frequent still give me a comp tab.
You still have family there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever. Where are you from, Annie?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. We have late summers there.
You have what?
Late summers.
Late summers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indian summers, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah.
Like where, because a lot of people kind of have a misconception of SF. They think that it's cold all year round, but that's not the case. It is kind of cold and foggy, whatever. We do have
cold for California.
Our nice weather.
Yeah, because of the
it's the Bay Area.
Yeah.
If you drive 20 minutes north, you're like, oh, it's hot here. What the fuck? But in the summertime, in the wintertime, I remembered they had like this. I don't know if they have this festival anymore, but like it would be like October, middle of October, and it'd be like 90 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So it's like the summers just come late there.
San Francisco is the only place I've ever been where I had like during the day walking around, it was freezing. I had to wear a jacket, and I still got sunburned. You know?
Yeah.
Like it was like cold, but I still got sunburned somehow.
Yeah.
Which I know is
It's kind of like how you can still tan even if it's overcast outside. You know?
It's so weird. I was like, I can't decide if I'm cold or hot. It doesn't make it. My body was so confused. It was bizarre.
It's just a weird place.
It's a very weird and expensive place.
I mean, it's more expensive now. I love it there, but I don't know if I could ever move back because of how expensive it is now.
You still have family there?
I have a lot of family and friends up there. All my friends keep posting stuff on Facebook like, oh, for this box, you can have this box for the monthly rent of $5,000 because of how expensive everything is now. It's ridiculous.
So, someone just proposed a new bill to change the California rent control laws.
Wow.
I just saw about this today. I'm like, holy fuck, if that happens, I'm never leaving this apartment.
What? How change the laws? How?
Okay, so as of right now, you cannot have rent control on a building in California that was built after 1995.
Okay.
They're going to change it where it applies to all buildings.
Okay. All right.
So that means I'm never leaving this apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to die here, huh?
Yeah. My roommate can fucking leave. I will will this to whatever, bastard offspring I have.
Bury you in this fucking thing.
That may happen anyways. I'm going to have some more tequila. Somebody else knows CPR, right?
Thank you for, every couple minutes I get a shameless plug as you refill your drink. I just start shouting www.ghosttequila.com every time you pour yourself another cocktail.
We'll have to, contract negotiate that one.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Look, every time you say it, I just put another $20 bill on the table.
That case. So,
just kidding. I'm broke.
Never mind. I was about to say, this is the Ghost Tequila podcast brought to you by Ghost Tequila.
I wish I hadn't spent all my money making Ghost Tequila. I would totally give you some money.
Aw, I want money. This apartment isn't free.
Look, once Ghost Tequila is very successful, then I will. Then we can call it the Ghost Tequila.
The Ghost Tequila podcast brought to you by Ghost Tequila.
Brought to you by Ghost.
No, it
Tequila.
should be Now We Drink. Brought to you by Ghost, or just Now We Drink Ghost Tequila.
And now we drink Ghost Tequila.
And now
brought
we
to you by
drink
Ghost Tequila.
Yep.
Right. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
How much you want to sell your soul for?
Not much. It ain't worth much. It's kind of been divvied up a little bit already.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. It's going to be like the Ghost Tequila and Taco Bell hour.
No. Come on, we're in LA. We can get real Mexican.
All right, that's fair.
I will find some taqueria.
I just meant like how low can you sell out? That's all I meant. I was trying to think of the worst example, selling out to corporate America.
Fair enough. Well, you guys aren't corporate America.
Not yet. Give me a couple of years.
Well, I'm happy to be in on the ground floor if you do become corporate America.
I'm kidding. I don't want to be corporate America.
I'm out.
All right.
I'm out.
All right, that's fine.
Doom's Whiskey, come on. No, I'm kidding.
I heard about that stuff. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real good. It's actually owned by friends of ours, so.
Oh, nice. Cool.
I was just at their tasting on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So, actually, speaking of Dooms, they're able to ship to anywhere in the country, even in the states they're not being currently distributed in. Can we do that with Ghost?
I'm so glad you asked. You're asking me this because I just slid a $20 bill across the table, huh?
It was only a single, but yeah.
Yeah, so I said this earlier, but we're only sold in bars and stores in certain states in the country right now. It takes a long fucking time to go to a new state, so we're working on it. But in the meantime, yes, you can order from our website, ghosttequila.com. On our website, there's a map that shows all the bars and restaurants and stores in the country that we are sold in. If you put your zip code, it'll drop a little pin. And then also on our website, there is a link where you can order product, and they'll ship it to you. They obviously, shipping ain't cheap because it is alcohol, but it is a cheap tequila compared to the other stuff you're going to find in the store at this price range. It's 100% agave, so for something in that price range, we're really decently priced.
And really tasty. I'm not just saying that because he's slipping me 20s.
Have we even do I need to say what it is? I guess if people listen to your podcast, they've already, do they know it's spicy tequila? Do I need to explain what this shit is?
Oh, we talked
You
the
talked
fuck
about it?
out of it, but you can say it again because that was that was like
20 that was 20 plus episodes
that
ago.
was like
Was it really?
Yeah, that was a long time. So you please tell the listeners right now.
What's funny is we started talking months ago, and I was like, one day I'm going to be in California, we're going to do this thing, and I'm glad it finally happened. And then like an asshole, I had to cancel last time, and then tonight I was late, so I'm a douchebag. I'm sorry.
But you are a douchebag that brought many gifts, so that makes up for it.
It's true. So the quick elevator pitch, it's 100% agave tequila infused with ghost pepper. So it's got a spicy kick to it. That's the ghost pepper extract is what gives that the kick. It's a very versatile product in that if you go to the college and the dive bars, there's a lot of people doing shots of it, or shot in a beer with a Boilermaker. And then if you go to the restaurants or the craft cocktail bars, they're doing the obvious ones are spicy margaritas, Bloody Marias for brunch.
Yum, yum.
Mexican mules, a lot of people do, which is just a Moscow mule with tequila. My business partner loves Negronis, which is kind of interesting for, a spicy tequila, but it works. And then so on and so on. I've seen a lot of bartenders get pretty wacky, crazy cool cocktails. But if you just want to make something at home, margaritas and mules and Marias are the best way to go.
Is there a cocktail list on the website?
There's a few on the website, but they are very basic. So, it's basically what I just said: margarita, Moscow Mule. The thing I always tell people to do is take your favorite classic cocktails and swap in Ghost for whatever the base is. 9 times out of 10 it'll work. You'll just make a spicy version of whatever that cocktail is. We are going to add more complex cocktails to that menu. If anybody's really curious, we have an in-house mixologist who comes up with really cool stuff.
Ooh, nice.
If I don't know when we'll get around to putting it on the website. If you really want to hear some cool cocktails, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and I will send you that list of recipes. If you want to get fun and experimental at home.
We encourage fun and experimental here.
I see what you did there. Like anal.
That's not experimental. That's
No,
pretty
I know.
basic.
I know. But on the podcast of yours that I was listening to on the way here, it was like a whole episode about anal. So
Yeah, I think we talked only about anal.
there was like an entire episode.
Yeah.
So he was listening to the Charlotte episode.
It was Charlotte. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She likes the butt stuff.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you said experimental. I got excited.
To the folks at home, do not butt chug Ghost.
Yeah, just don't.
Oh God, that would.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
That might burn.
Honestly,
a little bit.
look, you can do shots of Ghost, but honestly, don't chug this into any part of your body.
No, I mean, yeah, yeah,
Oh, there goes my night.
I know, right?
yeah.
Cool.
Oh boy.
But definitely don't butt chug it.
Yeah, don't bug chug.
I feel like if
anything.
you butt chug it, you're just asking for
Besides a painful death,
yeah.
Fatality.
I think that would don't die.
call back. Toasty.
I feel like you have a good fatality voice. You have to do it. Come on, you got this.
Fatality. No, that was,
Yeah, it's much better than mine is.
It was all right. It was all right.
No, it's great. You have a second career in video game voiceover work.
Well, shit. Someone hit up my representation. That's Cruz.
It's Annie, right?
Yeah.
She's like, wait, what? I'm busy.
She's like, I'll get to that email when I get to it.
Right.
I have 20 other jobs. Managing Mac's career is kind of at the
I know,
bottom.
seriously, you're like a workaholic.
I am. Every time people meet me, like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Where do I start?"
Yeah, that's me. I can't sleep at night because I'm just laying awake thinking about the shit that I could be doing while I'm laying down. It's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I gotta answer emails.
Me, it's constantly having to be creative, because
Yeah.
I have 2 podcasts, a radio show on Sirius XM that I don't have a co-host. I do that all by myself for an entire hour, and then I work in the marketing department of a nightclub, and then I also work in bottle service at a nightclub. So it's kind of like,
Damn.
yeah,
I'm.
lots of stuff, man. And then occasionally I'll dance, but
Yeah.
that's
Well, good.
just occasionally.
We're kindred spirits. I'm also a part of a theater company in New Orleans. Shameless plug number 2. If anybody's in New Orleans and wants
Yeah.
to see some live theater,
Please do. I
check
love
out
that shit.
Check out the Nola Project, NOLA, like
The
New Orleans,
Nola
Louisiana.
Project. Okay.
Yeah, we do
Okay.
like 5-6 shows a season, musicals, Shakespeare. This is what I was into before I got into the liquor business.
The next WrestleMania is going to be happening in NOLA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When is that?
I believe
April. It's March or April usually.
Is it March or April? I thought it was.
I don't follow professional wrestling anymore as much as I used to, but
I really thought for a second there, though, you were going to say that you danced too. But
well, what kind of dancing? Like
The same as
she
Annie.
does? God, I wish. How cool would
Yeah,
that
it is
be?
April of next year. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was thinking March, but yeah, it's April.
Well,
but
this
in
is-
NOLA. In NOLA.
Nice. Does it say the venue on there? I'm just curious.
It
the
says
arena?
here the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Okay. Yeah.
where the Saints play.
Yeah. It's a big venue for that.
For pro wrestling, not so much.
Well, there's an arena next door. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, WWE pulls that much audience these days.
They
Right?
do.
Okay,
They do.
All right, well that
It's
makes
nuts.
sense. I would hate to be in the nosebleeds and like looking at ants.
No, you're just staring at the Titantron at that point. You're just staring at the monitors. You might as well be watching it at home.
I just want to just go home. Yeah.
They had an event in LA recently where we were looking at the tickets and stuff, and I was like, certain parts, it depends on where you click,
Right.
it's like then here's the stage, and then over here, and then I was like, for $100 you can get some decent seats, man. But then if you go on the other side, opposite that same area, it's like double, more than
yeah.
double. It's like quadruple. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, it's because where the hard camera is, so you can be on TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's true. Actually, that's true. That's
I
very
went
true.
to when I was a kid. I went to.
See, I know shit.
I remember it was like high school maybe. I was really into WCW during the NWO years.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit. Like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and there was an event. I forget which one. It was like Nitro, whatever WCW did in New Orleans when I was in high school, and it was like. This is, I mean, wrestling was big back then, but you could, for like $100, get pretty close.
Yeah,
It
but that was
not
20
like-
years ago. $100 went a little,
But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like there were not as many people there as I thought as I thought there would have been at that time. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it totally does. It totally
I guess
does.
wrestling is just like, and also it was WCW, right? So they were the second during that day because WWF was.
Though for Nitro, WCW during the Monday Night Wars put on a much better show.
Yeah, you think so?
Definitely.
I mean-
well, because they were giving away pay-per-view level matches on Monday night for free just so they'd beat Raw in the ratings.
Oh, I didn't know that. For me, at that time period, I loved WCW because having grown up watching Hulk Hogan be the good guy, when he became the heel for WCW and he became Hollywood, that was so fucking cool when I was a kid for some reason. I loved seeing him team up with the bad guys, and Scott Hall, he would flick the toothpick. That whole crew, the whole NWO thing, I was so into, more so than I was what felt like at the time the more clean-cut WWF.
Well, even in the Attitude Era, which was going on in WWF at the time, I didn't like how cartoonish the characters were.
Yeah.
Where the WCW characters seemed much more grounded.
Yeah. Yeah, they had less, like, superpowers.
Right. They were going by their real names. They were Scott Hall, Kevin Nash.
Right.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's his, stage persona, but
Sure.
it's not as outlandish as The Undertaker or the Big Boss Man.
Or the IRS man, or...
Yeah, IRS and Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, Money Incorporated.
Doink the Clown.
Right.
Remember that, dude?
Yeah. And so WWF was so outlandish at that point. And
They jumped the shark. They jumped their own shark.
they did. And on top of it, in those days, I was a really big Goldberg mark.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
Like,
about
Goldberg was having his major run, like, undefeated, just wrecking people.
What a weird character. He was, looking back, you remember the Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
He reminds me of that for some reason.
Okay, that's funny.
I don't know why. You look at Goldberg, I imagine Goldberg saying, no, wait, I'm thinking of somebody different. Who's the guy who
You're
was...
thinking Gold Dust.
Gold Dust!
That's WWF.
Oh, okay, sorry. Now I look like an idiot. So Gold Dust, the guy in like the full spandex. He was always such a weirdo. Now I remember who Goldberg is. Goldberg was just like
The Big Angry Jew.
yeah, and he was just like a normal looking dude, like buff, but he like didn't have any crazy special powers or anything like that.
No, he just didn't talk much and wrecked people.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yep, I was thinking of Gold Dust, sorry.
Yeah, polar opposite of the characters there.
What a fucking weird character Gold Dust was.
Yeah, and that's Dusty Rhodes' son.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, that's
That's
random.
Dustin Rhodes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
I was a big, I'm not as much of a wrestling mark as Vance is, but I don't think anyone could be. But I was back in the day. I was also really big into ECW in those days.
I never caught on to that, but a couple people left the big guys and went to ECW, right? Like Sting or somebody important?
No. I mean, a bunch of the big names went through there, like made brief appearances, but
Okay. I don't know why I thought Sting.
no. Some of the controversy was like Mike Awesome left with the ECW belt and went to WCW at one point.
How do you remember who that is?
Not really. It doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah. All right, fair.
And somehow we ended up on fucking wrestling.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's talk about something else.
What-
we were just talking about NOLA. That's what brought up the thing. I was like, oh yeah, New Orleans. Blah, blah, blah.
oh yeah. Theater. Well, you were
Theater, yeah, because you were talking about theater.
you were asking me. You made a joke like, wouldn't it be funny if you danced too? And you meant dancing like she dances.
Oh, yeah.
My first thought is, since I studied musical theater, I took dance lessons, and I was like, how the fuck did you know that I took dance lessons?
Because you took musical theater,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah,
you can't
fuck
you can't really like do Grease without like fucking dancing.
This is true. I feel like a dummy now.
I'm not quite as dumb as I look on television. Jesus.
I think the three of us at this table have had like the weirdest career paths of like anybody I know. The three of us combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's a little odd.
Yeah. Seriously, I found out about what you did last time when we first met, which was like, what the fuck? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You have a weird career.
Yep.
I have a weird history.
Well, for me, I started off in music. Like I mean, I do armed security, shit like that.
Right.
But I ran a record label at one point. I kind of fell into being porn adjacent.
Yeah, non-speaking role in porn.
No, speaking role, non-sex.
Speaking role, not
Non-sex.
sex. Right. Okay.
Non-sex.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the ANWDs are coming out soon.
Do you know if you don't know if you're up yet? You're waiting till nobody gives you the inside industry.
I mean, it's pretty much
Yeah.
I'm pretty much sure I'm going to get nominated, but
Okay.
I don't want to jinx myself.
Yeah. All right.
No, but I'm hoping for a nomination. I'm hoping for a win.
Yeah.
there's many other members of the tribe on the voting committee, so hopefully they appreciate the performance.
Right, so we've got like music business, security, porn. We've got porn, nerd podcasts.
Former porn.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
I just mean like the progression
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things,
the progression,
right?
yeah. Porn to...
Nerd podcasts, screenwriting, all kinds of shit.
I've got 2 independent films in post-production as well.
Very cool. And then I went from musical theater to Disney to liquor business. Yeah, we're a bunch of fucking weirdos. Huh?
It's
amazing.
Come on. Entertaining people don't have fucking normal lives. Who wants
Also,
to
it's kind of the norm, too, in Hollywood specifically, when you meet people, that it's like, of the norm. So what do you do? Oh, well, where do I start? I do this, and the other thing. And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, everyone's got to have 3 jobs to afford rent.
Yeah,
well,
and that's such a big leap. I'm sure this is something that has been analyzed over and over again, but I feel like it's such a big leap from the last generation. You talk to baby boomers and they're like, or even Gen Xers, and it's like, yep, I got a job and that's what I do. And for people our age, it's like, oh shit, we have to have 8 jobs in order to pay for anything.
Well, and the thing about it is, I feel like our grandparents' generation instilled in our parents' generation, like, get your blue-collar job, pump out your kids, this is what life is about.
Right. And if you lose your job, you're fucked. Just all you have to do is just keep your job.
Right. And if you're loyal to the company will be loyal to you.
Right.
Ain't the case these days.
Also depends on where you come from, too, because I know people from my hometown where, like, they marry their high school sweetheart. Oh, now I have 3.5 kids, and now I'm just going to be a housewife while my husband works and pays for this family to be a family, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, that is so boring. Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, I think you can find those people anywhere in the country, right?
No, for sure.
To some extent.
For
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to me how that's all they know, because that's how they're, like, oh, my parents have been together for, every year. And they met when they were in high school, and then I met my man when he was when we were in high school, and so now I have kids, and they don't travel, they just stay. And
no, I met a girl while I was in Montana. Like, I was working in Montana years ago, and met a girl, was kind of kicking it for a minute, and she's like, oh, I don't want to travel until after I get married and have kids. That's more important than seeing the world. And I'm like, what? That is the polar opposite of how you want to do this.
Yeah.
like, if you have pump out a bunch of kids, you're not going to be able to travel the world.
Like,
Yeah.
you may be able to in 20 years when you're like, ow, I'm tired. I'm just going to...
Yeah.
Like, it blew my mind. Like, that's your priority, to marry off and have children, and then maybe see the world if it's convenient later on.
You guys need to get down to the South at some point and spend some serious time there. I mean, I went to, you would hate it, I went to an all-boys Catholic military college prep high school. And I swear to God, there were people married my senior year of high school. Because that's what you do. And we had a sister school. It was Dominican. And there was another one, Mount Carmel, I think. But the point is that, like, my senior year, there were guys that were engaged or married. Because, like, down there, it's like, you're 22, 23, and you're not having kids yet. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Are you one of them queers?
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's basically what they would ask you. Like, why aren't you married yet? What's wrong with you? And I'm 32 and I'm not married and don't have any kids. There's something seriously wrong.
And
with
you
me.
do musical theater.
I'm very obviously something is wrong with me. Yeah. Womp womp.
Womp womp. As much as we rag on the South, there's definitely awesome pockets of shit down there, too.
Oh, yeah. I'm allowed to rag on the South because I'm from there, So, but yes, I love the South. I love Louisiana. I love New Orleans. But, man, does it have its fucked up issues. Like anywhere.
Absolutely. New Orleans has some special fucked up issues, but...
Yes. But thankfully, it could be worse. It could be Alabama. That's right. Shots fired, Alabama. What you going to do about it?
You just skipped over Mississippi? Like, how could you just skip over Mississippi like that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, actually, Alabama has better beaches. Okay, fuck you, Mississippi. Come at me, bro.
I was about to say, like, I was in... What fucking... like, on the
Gulf Shores or Orange Beach?
One of the major cities in Alabama.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be... No.
Biloxi's in Mississippi.
Yeah, it is. I should know this. I know the general. Alabama is very short once you're driving across it.
Yeah.
So it's within a, small range.
Rad seafood.
Yeah.
Couple decent dive bars.
Mm-hmm. Louisiana is all swamp. Mississippi, the water gets a little bit nicer. Once you hit Alabama, the beaches start getting really nice. You start getting white sand, a little bit of blue water. It's still a little brackish, but the further towards Florida you go, the nicer it gets.
Florida just stole Alabama's coast.
Basically, yeah. Fucking panhandle, man.
Yep. They're just like, no, this is Florida, bitch.
Right. There's a bar. Anybody in the South will know this because it's a shit show. There's a bar literally on top of the line between Alabama and Florida, and it's called the Florabama. And you can be inside the bar and straddle the state line between Florida and Alabama, and it's like a college shit show bar. But
do they have two different liquor licenses?
That's a good question. I don't know, and I'd be curious. Anybody listening to this, please message me and let me know. But yeah, that's a really good question. But it's everybody from the South always is like, let's go to Floribama, especially because it's not too far of a drive from New Orleans. It's only a few hours. So what a weird, it's a weird place right there on that straddling that Floribama line. Yeehaw.
I've never been to the Panhandle.
It's nice. There's some cool, like Panama City is nice. Destin, Florida is nice. It's become very family gentrified, whatever you want to call it, commercialized over the last decade. But when I was in high school, it's like if we were going to steal our parents' car, that's where we would go drive there because it's only a few hours.
Yeah, I can only imagine because fuck, it's not Mobile. What the fuck is
Mobile, Alabama is on the
might have been Mobile then.
Yeah, or Gulf Shore is one of those.
It was one of the major cities.
Yeah.
I know I drove from there back to New Orleans back in under a day.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, because between Alabama and Louisiana, right, is Mississippi. And to get from New Orleans to Mississippi, it's 45 minutes. To get through Mississippi, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean...
No, it's less to get through Mississippi.
I drove in, did what I needed to do, met up with my buddy at Country Club.
Did what I needed to do. Took a shit.
Yelled at some people. Because I was supposed to have equipment in Alabama that was never shipped from New Orleans, so I drove and picked it up. Went to Country Club, got day drunk.
Oh, Country Club in the Marigny Bywater?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah.
It's no longer nudity allowed, unfortunately.
That's a fucking shame.
I don't know if when you went there...
Oh, no, my buddy, when I showed up naked, from the...
Yeah. Yeah, I think they realized they could get more money. Again, it's a tourist thing. They were only attracting a very small clientele for a long time, with the nudity, with allowing nudity. And then I think as the place got more popular, they realized, oh, we have a lot of tourists in here. We can make more money if we make it no nudity allowed. I'm guessing.
That's a fucking shame.
It could be for other reasons. It could be for health reasons. Who knows? But I'm just guessing, I think that when they made it no nudity allowed, then I'm sure their numbers went way up.
Money.
Yeah, but it's still a cool place where the Ghost is on a cocktail on their menu, which is cool.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, last time I was there was 2014. So
yeah, lots changed. That fucking city.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since I've been to New Orleans. So
yeah,
it's been 3 years. Shit.
Yeah.
Year for me. It's been a year for me.
Let's go, guys.
All right, right now, podcast over. We're getting on a plane.
I've only ever been twice, too. I want to go back.
Yeah.
I like that place.
I'll give you all the... I don't know what you've done so far, but I'll give you all the suggestions.
I've done a lot.
I'm a New Orleans recommendation machine, basically.
I forgot what cemetery I went to. That was a lot of fun.
Probably cemetery... St. Louis #1.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the one that... I think that's...
That's where Marie Laveau's... That's where Marie Laveau's...
Yep. That's the one everybody goes to.
Mm-hmm.
That's jambalaya in town.
I even rode the streetcars,
Yeah.
the streetcar named Desire and all that.
Yeah, I grew up right near from there, right near the St. Charles.
I did so much my first trip out there. I can't remember, but
either. Oh God, people in New Orleans are whoever's listening to this is gonna be like, "Fuck you." That's a tough call. I can whittle it down to a couple. Either Jacquemo's, Liuz's.
Why does that sound so familiar?
It's a very famous restaurant.
I feel like I've been there.
Or, yeah, maybe Jacquemo's. Jacquemo's is one of those places that started out as a local secret and has become more touristy, like everything in New Orleans. And because of that, is kind of, locals start to go, raise their nose at it. but it's one of my favorite places in New Orleans. That's where I send friends who are visiting too.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't
It's
think
not like Mother's that has a goddamn line down the street.
No, Jacques and Beau's has a line too, and they don't take reservations. Mother's is great.
Oh man, that's.
I will go to Mother's for po' boys, but I won't go there for like dinner for entrees. Mother's is my place for like sandwiches for lunch. But if I'm going to dinner, I really like Jacques and Beau's is one of my favorites. If I want New Orleans-y food, you know.
Well, when I'm in New Orleans as a tourist, I want New Orleans-y food.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
I want all of it, all
Food
the
is
time.
so good.
Yeah.
I think the 2 weeks I was down there for a 2-week span in 2014. I don't think I ate a vegetable in 2 weeks.
Good. You did it right. And if you did, it was fried.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like deep fried okra. Okay.
Or it was covered in like butter and Tony Chachere's or something like that. Oh yeah. Oh no. It's like when I think about New Orleans food, I both start salivating and also feel like I want to throw up, you know, because it's like I'm starving until I eat it, and then I'm like, oh god, it's gonna kill me. Oh.
I'm gonna die.
See, that's what bums me out about LA. Like, there is no good like New Orleans food here.
Yeah.
There's good imposters in a lot of other cities. Chicago has a couple spots that are decent imposters. Mm-hmm. I haven't found it in LA yet.
Something that a friend of mine who's a chef in New Orleans once told me is that, you know, there really isn't a lot of good New Orleans food outside of New Orleans, unlike, you know, a genre of food like Chinese or something that you can replicate in a lot of other places. What this guy that I know told me is that the reason why there's no good New Orleans food in other places is because of the water and that the humidity. So what, I don't know if this is bullshit or not, but what he said was that, you know, a lot of cooking, especially with like the bread and gumbo and things like that, it's because the water is so different in New Orleans, and it gives it a very specific taste.
Somewhere, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's something with the humidity,
something with the
and because the city's 6 feet below sea level.
Yeah, I
blah,
heard
blah,
that
blah.
too.
Yeah, and I don't know the science behind this. Somebody listening could be like, yes. Somebody listening could be like, fuck you, you're full of shit.
Yeah,
but,
like, where the fuck did you get this information from?
But from what I understand, it's that because the atmosphere and the air and the water are so different, it causes things like the yeast in the bread to act completely differently or taste completely differently than it would elsewhere. So if you're making like the roux for a gumbo in New Orleans versus doing it somewhere in Northern California, it's going to taste very different just because of the atmosphere that it comes from. I don't know. Somebody tell me I'm right. Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
I was trying to Google it, but I don't think I can find. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah.
To find out if like.
Just word it. Why does food in New Orleans taste better?
It's going to just say like because it's full of fried and sugar and butter.
I've heard a rumor about this, that Popeyes tastes better in New Orleans.
This is true.
Okay, you know what?
This is 100% true.
I literally Googled why does food in New Orleans taste better, and the first article to pop up, which is from 2017, in fact, this was written just in July. It says why Popeyes is always better in New Orleans.
Yep. This is true, and this is like 100% backed up by locals. Everyone knows and believes this. Anytime a local from New Orleans travels outside the city and goes to any other Popeyes, they're like, I don't understand why it tastes like this.
That's interesting. This says, and I quote, in New Orleans, Popeyes doesn't even qualify as fast food.
It doesn't. Popeyes is kind of like the tradition in New Orleans is you eat Popeyes on Mardi Gras Day like it's a holiday. So it's almost like turkey for Thanksgiving, you know, Popeyes for Mardi Gras. So you get Popeyes and you sit on the street and you watch the parade. And it's a very like family picnic thing. It's kind of like a special occasion.
Yeah.
Sure, you can get Popeyes and, you know, drive through and pick out in your car. But the mentality that Popeyes is treated with is very different in New Orleans. It's seen as above fast food.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's created by a guy from New Orleans, this guy named Al Copeland, who.
So Popeyes did originate in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was this small little chicken shack in, I think it was Chalmette, which is like a suburb of New Orleans.
Okay.
This guy who came up with the recipe, and he went on to start like casual dining restaurants like TGI Fridays and things like that, but local New Orleans places called Copeland's, which is just his last name.
Right.
None of his restaurants did as well as Popeyes did, and he passed away, and his son and his family maintained the restaurants that he started, but they sold Popeyes. Here's the cool thing from a business perspective. They sold Popeyes, the restaurants, to Church's Chicken, and the company that owns Church's Chicken still maintains the Popeyes restaurant separate from Church's. Right? They have two separate brands.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's Church's. Mm-hmm.
What Copeland's did, the holding company, the parent company, that was really smart is they only sold them the restaurants, not the recipe to the seasoning, to the batter of the chicken.
Yeah.
So Church's has to buy the recipe for the chicken from Copeland's, meaning that Copeland's forever has an eternal revenue stream of money coming in to purchase the recipe, because they won't tell Church's what's in the recipe that makes the chicken so like fucking addictive.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? That's so smart.
It's so smart. And also explains something that happened in my childhood. 2 blocks from where I grew up, there was a Church's, and then one day it was a Popeyes.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why. Also because Popeyes is better.
Oh, far superior. These days, if I see a Church's, I just know I'm in the ghetto.
Yeah. And Popeyes is trying to rebrand themselves as being like a higher quality.
Yeah, they're the Louisiana Kitchen now.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to position themselves as like a culinary treat from Louisiana, which is kind of working, you know?
I like their fast food dirty rice.
Yeah, it is good. You know, it's fried chicken. It's not going to be good for you, but compared to
It's not?
No.
I'm not a doctor.
We have a lot to talk about. But anyway, yes.
Can we talk about it over fried chicken?
What?
Can we talk about it over fried chicken?
Yeah, let's go. Is there a Popeyes around here?
There is
Actually,
a
yes.
Popeyes.
It's open till 4 a.m.
I was actually just gonna bring that up. That on Hollywood Boulevard there is is that the one you're thinking of?
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
And I'm curious because I've never been to that one. If it is any good, because it's like in the middle of
Actually, that is probably the worst Popeyes on earth. They are often
guessing.
out of shit. They're open till 4 a.m. and they have security. Like they have a security guard.
I could imagine. Dude, I think we talked about this on the podcast before. I traveled somewhere, and it was an area that was kind of sketch. That this I can't remember what fast food joint it was, but they had bulletproof glass for when you went to go order food.
Yeah.
Inside or the drive-thru?
No, inside.
I believe it.
Inside you go to order your food, like you're going into Burger King or some shit, and they have bulletproof glass.
It wasn't Harold's Chicken in Chicago, was it?
I think this is when we had that conversation, because I was saying how and I can't remember for the life of me where the fuck I was and what restaurant it was. I know it was like some kind of road trip, I think. It might have been when I did a road trip to the Midwest that we stopped, and I can't remember
But you haven't actually really been to Chicago except for Exotica, right?
Yeah, and that technically doesn't even count.
But next time you're in Chicago, speaking of amazing fried chicken, there is a chain of fried chicken places that are only in Chicago, though they're opening one in L.A.
Ooh.
Called Harold's Chicken. All of them except one location serve the chicken through bulletproof glass to you.
What?
Yeah.
What, like for security reasons or for a gimmick?
No, security reasons.
Security
They're in the hood.
Okay.
But every chicken is fried to order.
And it's so good that
It is amazing.
Do they just give you like a whole chicken?
I mean, you can order you can order a half.
I'm just imagining them dunking a whole chicken into a deep fryer.
But dead serious, they fry your order to order.
Cool.
Like there's never any like heat lamps, anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you really want to call it in ahead, otherwise you're sitting there for 20 minutes waiting on chicken.
Harold's.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
It is the best logo ever. It is a African American male in a crown and robe chasing a chicken with a hatchet.
Jesus. Why? It sounds mildly racist.
It started in the African American community in Chicago.
All right.
It's primarily in African American communities.
Okay. All right.
There is one in a like gentrified white neighborhood, and that's the only one without bulletproof glass.
Okay.
Which something about bulletproof glass locks in the flavor, so you don't want to go to that one.
It feels so much more satisfying when you eat somewhere where you feel like you're going to die, right? You're like, this could be my last meal.
Oh,
It feels so much better.
I have had friends who have been refused service at Harold's like late night. They've rolled into like one of the ones and like, I'm not cleaning you off the floor. Get out of here.
Wow. Damn.
Like you're balls deep in the hood, and they're just like, no, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing, white boy?
All this food talk is making me hungry.
Well,
Lucky for you, I brought Popeyes. Woo.
oh,
Wouldn't
you'd
it
be the hero.
Don't tease.
Wouldn't that be awesome if I just pulled that out from under
that
the
would
table?
be amazing. I'd be like, let me eat all that right
I brought it
now.
from New Orleans. It's still hot.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how. I don't know why, but I'm okay with it.
OG
because
Popeyes.
it was under my balls. I kept the whole thing under my balls.
I don't care how. I said I don't care how. But it is last call.
Holy shit snacks, guys. It is last call. Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast and bringing some treats and whatnot. Love it, love it, love it. Where can we find you online?
Ghost Tequila is at Ghost Tequila on all the things. Super simple on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Me personally, I'm Richard A. Pomes, Pomes, on Instagram and Twitter. Use the Googles.
Use the Googles. Look up Ghost Tequila, though.
Yeah.
Ghost Tequila. Because it is amazing.
It is super rad.
Thanks, guys.
And yummy. And delicious. Matt Slayer, where can we find you?
You can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook, Matt Slayer on Snapchat. I'm still confused on what my Snapchat is.
He always fucks it up. Like, just look up Matt Slayer, and then if it's the wrong Matt Slayer, then that's really funny.
Yeah, look for me, like, animated throwing up devil horns.
I just want someone to find a different Matt Slayer and start sending fucking pictures or whatever, and then that person being like, who the fuck is this, and why are you sending me dick pics? Anyways, just kidding.
Don't send me dick pics. Please don't.
You can find me at Any Fucking Cruise on Twitter, at Any Cruise on Instagram, AnyCruise.com for business, AnyFuckingCruise.com for pleasure. Of course, you can find us at And Now We Drink on Twitter, at And Now We Drink _ on Instagram, and Now We Drink on Facebook. And thanks for listening, guys.
And now we drink Ghost Tequila.
Oh.
And now we drink Tequila.
Who do I write the check to?
Matt Slayer.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Night all.